Honorable members, Mr. Speaker.
Prayers.
Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with your abundant favor these your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important trust in this land. Let your blessing descend upon them here assembled, and grant that they may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under their deliberation, in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to their charge. Amen.
Amen. Item number 2 on the order paper, communication from the chair.
Colleagues, part of my communication, there is some information I was looking for here, which I had captured very well. I might have, you will help me to get it. Sorry, I mispressed where I had written it. But colleagues, I read a story in Monitor of a caretaker of a patient. I think at, is it in Soroti? Yes, Sahara Center 4, who has been working in a garden, okay, in a garden of the health center administrator for 2 weeks in order to cover a bill for cesarean section that had been done on the daughter. You know, for 2 weeks, and a resident said it has been a practice that people do it for one to get a service. You know, it was a very, 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 very painful story. I will ask my team to get me the record. It's on Monitor, even online. It should be there. Or if there is any colleague who can get it, can get me the real facts. But nevertheless, it's a very, very painful story. Very, very painful story. And I'm lucky the Minister for Health has come. Yes. Honorable Minister, I've seen a story in Monitor with a very clear picture. A story in Monitor with a very clear picture. I read it online and on their Twitter page, whereby a caretaker of a patient has been working in the garden of a nurse, of one of the health center administrators, for 2 weeks to cover a bill for the cesarean section done on the daughter-in-law. For 2 weeks. For 2 weeks. And it's a very, very painful. Thank you. I thought one of you would raise a point of order for the interruption on on the presiding officer. Yes, it was a very, very painful story. Honorable Minister for Health, if any details are needed, we shall pass them over to you. But tomorrow, really, you update us. It doesn't need to be a statement, a full statement, but at least you come, you tell us about the action taken on that issue. It's very painful when you look at it. I will allow you to comment if you want to comment after my communication on this issue. But in the meantime, colleagues, you can be getting full details. One of you, whoever is quick to get the details, can. But also my clerk should be able to get for me details because it's online, okay, of the specific health center and the caretaker involved. I just saw it when I was coming, so I wasn't able to quickly handle this issue. Number two, honorable colleagues, today we've paid tribute to the late PS of our ministry of the office of the Prime Minister, Mr. Case Mahakanizi, and 48 members made a contribution. I'm sorry we didn't have enough time for everyone to speak about him. Honorable Kambare Ferigo and the rest, Never Sanon we were in, they wanted to contribute, but time was not our best ally, so you forgive me, but I want to thank you. We started at 10 a.m. and we've done a good job. Now, colleagues, yesterday, I'm sorry, I was supposed to have a meeting with Rob, but it's been very quick. The gap in between, we couldn't meet. But yesterday, oh yes, Mappy has come. We passed a motion here for a select committee. And usually I go back and I review the work I do. In that motion, Lop did what he was supposed to do, Honorable Mpuga, but there was an oversight on my side where I had to exercise my power. I discussed a little bit with him, but when I went back, I reviewed, and today morning I again reviewed. So the motion was brought under Rule 59 of our Rules of Procedure, where it's motions without notice. Now, when I was reviewing the work I did yesterday, I found I should have brought it to the attention of the mover that that was not the right rule, because it had to be under my discretion, because it was, he moved under 1J, no, 1K, where in the opinion of the speaker is a matter of emergency. That's a motion for a select committee to investigate the tax waiver on gold. Now, that was okay. That would have been okay. But when I moved back and I read my submission after Honorable Mpuga, then I discovered I resisted. I advised that no, Honorable Member, it would be important if we could give Minister like 1 week for you who are here, 1 week to go back, update a statement, but then he insisted and I allowed. Now, when you interpret this rule, then it looks, I wasn't looking at it as an emergency issue that needed to pass that motion at that time. Okay? So I'm constrained on that, no, appointing the committee. I want to direct the clerk to use the Rule 228, sub-rule 2, correct the official report, but also I guide the mover that he still has a chance of bringing that motion under Rule 56, whereby he will give notice, we bring a substantive motion, and then it is debated and we vote on it. Otherwise, I don't want us to do good work here, then out of just a mere procedure, for all that good work we would have done, then someone goes to court and the report is struck off. Now, that's the problem was mine, not the one of the mover, because at that time I should have told the mover. We shared a little, but today I went back, I read through. I usually review the work I do a day before. And where you find as a reader, you've made a mistake, you should bring it on the floor. So Honorable Rope, I'll give you time. If you want to bring a substantive motion, you bring it. But in the meantime, let the minister update her statement. And within 1 week, she brings it here. But if Rope at that time has moved a successful motion, then also we would continue and handle that issue. So, honorable colleagues, for now, that's my comment. Oh, no, I have a very important issue on my communication. Honorable colleagues, we have just received the data from His Excellency the President, and regarding the Anti-Homosexuality Act 2023. It's dated 25th April 2023, addressed to the Right Honorable Anita Among, Speaker, Parliament of Uganda, Kampala. The Anti-Homosexuality Act 2023. The above subject matter refers. I have received the Anti-Homosexuality Act 2023 for assent. Some of the provisions of the bill need to be reconsidered and reviewed by Parliament in the following areas. 1. Distinguishing between being a homosexual and actually engaging in acts of homosexuality. It is important to recognize that the suspicion, allegation, or belief of some individuals being homosexuals has been with our society for quite some time. Indeed, the debate has always been whether the sexuality of these individuals is deviant conduct or otherwise. What is clear is that our society does not accept homosexual conduct or actions. Therefore, the proposed law should be clear so that what is sought to be criminalized is not the state of one having a deviant proclivity, but rather the actions of one acting on that deviance or indeed promoting the same in whatever way. To this end, the bill should be reviewed and include a provision that clearly states, especially under Section 2 and Section 3, that for avoidance of doubt, a person who is believed or alleged or suspected of being a homosexual, who has not committed a sexual act with another person of the same sex, does not commit an offense under those sections. This distinction must be clearly articulated in the law. Clauses 9(1), in my view, is unnecessary, as what is provided for under 9(2) is more comprehensive and passes the constitutional test, since it provides for the actual knowledge of the person who is responsible for the premises. Clause 9(1) should therefore be deleted from the bill. 3. Clause 14, duty to report acts of homosexuality. Clause 14, as currently drafted, may present constitutional challenges. Read together with Clause 15, it appears to create unnecessary contradictions and duties which will pose a challenge to implement. While Clause 14 imposes a duty of one to report suspected acts of homosexuality, the bill under Clause 15 makes it an offense for a person to make false sexual allegations. This contradiction could present challenges in the implementation of the bill and could be a source of conflict in society. I therefore suggest that Clause 14 be reviewed with the aim of removing it all together or restricting it to apply to the protection of children and vulnerable persons as provided under Article 17(1)(c) of the Constitution for rehabilitation of homosexuals. Whereas I'm of the view that the bill should include a provision that facilitates those who have been previously involved in acts of homosexuality to present themselves to the relevant health or other authorities for purposes of seeking help in cases where their previous involvement in acts of homosexuality was not the aggravated kind and should therefore not be punished. I'm advised that this being a private member's bill, my proposal could offend Article 93 of the Constitution. This will be subsequently attended to. In view of the above concerns, I return the bill to Parliament for reconsideration under Article 91 of the Constitution. Yoweri Museveni, President of the Republic of Uganda. So I refer I hereby refer the bill to the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs to expeditiously handle, because these are issues which are not that many. Ugandans are highly waiting for this bill. I thank you. Yes, Honorable Sewungu. Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank you for the good communication, and my apologies, I did not attend the tribute. But Honorable Speaker, through you to the government chief whip, we have all along requested the government to provide us a legislation that determines who is brought here for tribute. There are a lot of complaints, right, Honorable Speaker, that are coming out in the public. For example, Father Lukodo died. He was a minister, he was a commissioner, but nothing was done here. One time, you remember in the last parliament, when Honorable Nyombi, the former Attorney General, died, the body remained outside there, and he was not brought into the house because there's no proper legislation on who should be brought for tribute and who should be given that kind of treatment. Second, Honorable Speaker, on the issue of committees, under our rules, Part 25, we talk about committees of parliament. These committees of parliament have a lot of authority, but there's a growing trend that needs your attention. I don't understand who has brought this culture of summoning committees, not committees summoning ministers. Of recent, Honorable Speaker, the Committee on Presidential Affairs went to the Prime Minister's office. From Prime Minister's office, Chief Whip of Government, the Deputy Prime Minister, committee is moving, and the members are divided. Those of the opposition and those who don't have that belief refuse to attend the committees. Right, Honorable Speaker, even the President, this is the committees which write to him to meet him, not him summoning committees, because there is no separation of power at that stage. I pray, Honorable Speaker, to maintain the name of Parliament, dignity. Committees of Parliament must be given respect, and they have powers of the High Court, as stated by our rules. But this trend that has grown is building fear and threat in the committees. If I'm summoned as a committee to the office of the Prime Minister, what kind of report do you expect a member of the committee to write after
Thank you,
meeting? So right now, Speaker, I pray that as a committee, as the Speaker of Parliament, and the custodian of our rules, let us abide by the rules. There is no minister, even the Prime Minister, he was in the park in 2011. By that time, the Amama was the Prime Minister. We summoned him. He refused. We used the powers of the High Court, and the police looked for him, brought him in the committee. But this business of ministers taking committees is weakening my strength as a member of Parliament from Kalungu, and I will not accept that while you are the Speaker of this House and the Right Honorable Speaker, Anita Mong. I pray, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable colleague, on that issue, I will need to, first of all, link up with the leadership of the committee that was involved to know under what circumstances they did all this. But this is a matter which we are going to address in the business committee where all chairpersons sit. Because you see, chairpersons, if you prefer to weaken yourselves, you're going to be. I saw it on the media, and I was also somehow concerned, because without offending my colleagues, now the people who were appearing are the ones who were seated in the major chairs. The committee was appearing before. Chief Whip, the committee was appearing before you on what was in the media. You get it? So I think it's very important for us to protect the committees, but this we shall work on with the whips and Prime Minister in our business committee, where we shall meet the chairperson, and we see how best, because I know all of them is in the interest they do in the interest of this House. Might have been an oversight, so I'll ensure we follow up. Then on the other issue, I think I will ask the Prime Minister later tomorrow to inform the House when she has come for Prime Minister's time on the criteria used. Because you see, for us, we get communication. This motion is moved by government. No one ever saying let us not. Then tomorrow we can add on it. Okay. I had picked then.
Thank you.
Honorable Kui.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. On the issue raised in your communication on the pertaining to the forced labor, manual labor that the caretaker in Sorot Hospital has been subjected to in order to raise the bill.
Honorable Nambesh, if you don't mind, let me give the full information so that it flows very well with you. Okay? Yes, I've gotten the information. Honorable Minister for Health, I've gotten the information. A one Margaret Iroku, 63 years old, okay, has been digging at a farm of the administrator of Princess Diana Health Center 4 in Sorot City. And her labor is covering the cost of the cesarean section that was done on her daughter-in-law, Grace Achen. For over 2 weeks, she has been digging. And up to now, we are not sure that she's about to finish digging. Okay? Because they did a C-section on her daughter who had come to give birth. She first raised 150,000 from friends mobilizing and all that. Then after when she reached, they said now she needs to do cesarean section. So she didn't have money. And they even told her, if you don't hurry, she's going to die. Your daughter is going to die, according to the interview which I read, which was conducted with her. So she's now in a farm of a caretaker for 2 weeks, and she's not about to finish because the bill seems to be a bit high. So we really, let Honorable Nambesha finish, then Honorable Minister, you will respond.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. This callous act by the administrator of the hospital, or rather Health Center 4, it is not one isolated case, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, many medical workers, even in referral hospitals, where patients expect to be accorded free health care services, extort money from patients or mothers, expectant mothers, in order to perform those cesarean sections. The case in point is what happened in Palisa Hospital this year in January. The doctor who was supposed to perform a cesarean section put a serious condition that unless you produce 200,000, I will not conduct any surgical operation on you. The husband ran around. He failed to secure the money until he rushed to the RDC. And thanks to that RDC, even if he is also very notorious for other funny conduct, this time round he acted swiftly. The doctor was arrested. But what is disheartening, Mr. Speaker? This doctor was eventually released, of course, enjoying his constitutional right of bail. But his services were transferred elsewhere to another hospital. And he has not been charged. And this, Mr. Speaker, sir, speaks broadly to the state of healthcare services in Uganda. They are on drip. Yes, please.
Thank you, Honorable Member, for giving way. The information I wanted to give you is that like you have seriously noted that it is happening everywhere. During our campaigns, I had an impromptu visit in my hospital in Amuria, and I found about over 20 women who had undergone cesarean. These doctors no longer give us an opportunity to push. They want to do the C-section because there's a certain money that they charge as a professional fee. which is not good, because once you are cut, life can never be the same. So this is what is happening, and we want to urge the minister, do some bit of inspection in these hospitals and you will find the truth. Another woman died because she was not able to raise the money that was required by the doctor. So please, let's do something about this. Thank you very much, Honorable Member, for giving me.
As I conclude, Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to thank the Honorable Susan for the supplementary information. Mr. Speaker, even drugs that are supposed to induce labor these days, one husband availed the drugs and he was turned away by the doctor. He said, we don't do that here. It has to be cesarean section and at a fee. So see how callous and heartless most of our healthcare workers are these days. But it is also because the government has not bothered to bring to book even those that are arrested with the stolen medical supplies. It has happened even in Bududa, where a medical officer was caught ready-handed with the stolen drugs, but eventually was released and went scot-free. Thank you.
I see the honorable colleague seems to be banning. I don't know whether you have information related to this case. Yeah.
Yes, right, Honorable Speaker. But the information is still on the health workers. 2 weeks back, I was with the Minister of Health in Gweri Health Center 3. A community raised concerns against the health worker. They informed the minister that one midwife called a lodge, Rosemary, her work is just to sit at her home. When somebody is on labor pain, it is the attendants to go and call her after delivery of the baby to only come and cut. That has even made the children to construct HIV in the Gweri Health Center. The same woman, same nurse, made one lady to die in the names of Akiror Mary. She died because of delay referring the referral hospital. Right, Honorable Speaker, we need to do something. The community, the LOC 1 and the LOC 3 of the area raised that concern and asked the DHO to take action. Even the chairperson LOC 5 asked the DHO to take action. Even the RDC asked the DO to take action, but no action was taken. Right, Honorable Speaker, I bring this to your attention, to the attention of the Parliament, so that we get actions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable. Colleagues, escalating this so much. Let me allow Kasese.
Thank you, right,
Kasese and then Soroti. But Kudo is from that same area. So anyway, I will allow a woman, since she's from Soroti. Yes, I'm going to give you Honorable Kori, but I want us to close this matter. You see, I don't want the communication of the speaker reaction to take an hour. I shouldn't be the one. You, Honorable colleagues, you should be bringing these issues. These are issues you should have brought as matters of national importance, so no one brought it. So no one came to my office to register it. I shouldn't be the one originating this. Yes, Kasese.
Thank you, Right
Just
Honorable
2 minutes each, quickly.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me way. Right Honorable Speaker, this morning we lost a middle-aged woman at Wera Hospital while giving birth. What raises my eyebrows is that she's the 5th person to die while giving birth in just 1 week at the same facility in the hands of doctors. It's my prayer, Right Honorable Speaker, that the Ministry of Health interests itself in this matter, because we are going to continue losing mothers at the hands of the doctors. Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Allow me to appreciate you for bringing this issue on the floor. This issue is indeed true. I personally took the initiative yesterday and followed up with my team on ground, and the old woman testifies that this is true. I also called the doctor and he claims to give us excuses. In the same city, 3-4 weeks ago, a woman died just because at the Soroti Regional Referral Hospital, there was no medicine that they inject women after giving birth. And they were asking for 20,000. And yet in actual sense, I'm told the medicine is less than 5,000. In the same hospital, 2 months ago, a woman was taken for cesarean section, but because the mother did not have money, 3 days after the operation, the woman started oozing out pus. When taken back to theater, there were particles left in the stomach. I escalated this issue and the RCC took it up. We are really facing a challenge as women. And some of these doctors and nurses need to be brought to book. This very woman who is doing hard labor also says after the C-section, she was asked 75,000 to buy drugs. I called the man in the stores and he said, we have all the drugs. Why was this person railing and asking this old woman? But we really need help as a country, as a government, to see how we can prioritize health to ensure that we handle the poor people down there.
Thank you. I had Victor Kui.
Thank you very much,
Then
Right Honorable
Dr.
Speaker,
Otara.
for this opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, the case that is being discussed now about the woman working in the farm of a health worker in Soroti is not a particular case. Right Honorable Speaker, last year I lost a cousin at a Lepton Health Center 4. Why? Because they have to refer you 50 kilometers to Lira to do a CT scan. Then you come back and look for 200,000 and pay before they do a C-section on you. And if you can't afford, they delay you, and then referral is done in the last minute. And you lose a mother and the child at the same time. So this issue is of great concern that the ministry must take it seriously. And as legislators, we must provide resources to support our health facility. I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Otara.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for bringing this matter before the House. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to agree with the opposition whip that this is not an isolated case. In fact, this is the tip of the iceberg. I had earlier on, Right Honorable Speaker, raised this concern when the Budget Committee met with the Committee on Health. And I said, what is going on in the country is appalling in respect to the way our citizens are being treated when they go to the health facilities. Virtually everywhere, our mothers are now being charged for cesarean section. Virtually everywhere, patients are being charged for strangulated hernias that require urgent attention. And I think the Minister of Health needs to come up boldly to curb this vice. It's not our professional code of conduct to subject patients or their attendants to manual labor to pay. Even when we run our private facilities, we can only charge a fair fee. And professionally, we define what is a fair fee. But these days, you see someone charging for consultation 200,000. That's not a fair fee. Anywhere, whether it is here in the city or anywhere across the country. And so, Right Honorable Speaker, the deterioration in service delivery in our health.
Thank you. Now, colleagues, let's, because you see, we cannot conclude this matter this way. Yes. No, on this matter, let's, Honorable Minister for Health, you had wanted to say something?
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. Indeed, the issues that are being raised this afternoon about the ethics of our health personnel in different health facilities is of a major concern. And as a ministry, we take the concerns raised here seriously. And Right Honorable Speaker, I want to inform you and colleagues that the top management of the Ministry of Health, which I was parted to, in the last 2 weeks, we had to call out support supervision in the regions of Lango, Pat, Teso, and Bukedia. Indeed, we came across some of these issues that are being raised. And as a ministry, we have and we still continue to ensure that these issues don't happen, don't continue happening, because we know that the health staffs ethically they must handle the patients with care. The patients are our clients. And in this case, Right Honorable Speaker, when it came to our attention, we set out an investigation team headed by the Director General to find out. Of course, we condemn the act and all the acts that are associated, especially when it comes to mistreatment of the mothers or any other patient. And as I came in, I was told that they are compiling a report. And Right Honorable Speaker, as you see, since the issues of an ethical way of handling our patients and management or mismanagement of administrative, I want to say that if we could be given time, I bring here a comprehensive report, the actions that we have taken. In the case of the medicals or the individuals concerned, Right Honorable Speaker, the challenge is the DHOs are under the local governments. And when we get such issues, we write to the DHO through the local government to apprehend them, because they are the ones who are responsible. Others, we raise our issues, we tell them the cases, we ask the local government, we ask DHO, but we still move in as a supervisory sector to ensure that they are doing the right thing. I want to promise you that we are still moving on in 2 different regions. We are trying our best to bring our personnel, health personnel, to act, to work, to perform within the required standards. Otherwise, we regret, but we shall continue. I want to ask you that I come back here in the shortest time and I compile some of these issues and the actions we have taken.
Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
So, Honorable Minister, for this specific case, come back tomorrow, because we want to know the status of the patient and whether the caretaker is still again undergoing hard labor, or whether, and then the action, because the action has to be immediate on this matter. So tomorrow I'll give you space, you update us.
Much obliged.
Thank you. Honorable Mara, this issue is closed, honorable colleagues. Honorable Mara, it's a different issue?
Yes, Right Honorable Speaker, is a different issue. It relates to your communication on the discussion that was held yesterday and the proposal to have a select committee on minerals. I wouldn't want to open the debate, but you already made a ruling on it, on how it's going to proceed. My concerns, Right Honorable Speaker, is around the action by the executives on the select committee reports, because we are talking of having another select committee. We, for example, had a recommendation, a report, a strong report from the Select Committee on Bujagali, which was adopted by this House. At the moment, we are going through a budget process. In that report, Right Honorable Speaker, Bujagali holds a substantial amount of money, which was a result of payments, about 1.2 trillion. I have looked at the report on the budget estimates. I don't see these figures reflected in that report as a source of revenue. At the moment, we're having problems. So, Right Honorable Speaker, my concern is that we have severally appointed select committees. They have given their reports. It's adopted by the House and sent over to the executive for action. But I haven't heard anywhere. The Prime Minister is here and the government chief whip. They need to tell us what is happening with these recommendations, very strong recommendation, especially on Bujagali. I submit.
Thank you. Now, honorable colleagues, action taken reports are provided for under Rule 220 of our rules of procedure. So as a House, we should be asking them to come back and report on the action taken within the time we would have given. Now, on Bujagali, Honorable Minister for Finance, I think, was it Energy or Finance, was supposed to take some action in terms of engaging, yes, in terms of engaging Bujagali, the power producers, and we were supposed to get an update which would guide us, especially when we are handling the tax bill. So, Minister, you can update us tomorrow. Or if you have an update now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I need to be guided on the procedure. Normally, reports of this nature, we normally report through the way we do Treasury memoranda. Is the way we report back to the House. So I would like to know whether the Parliament would like us to deviate from the procedure I've been following, or what do I do?
No, these are different. Auditor General reports and all that, they are the ones for the Treasury memoranda. But on committee and parliamentary resolutions, they are provided for under 220, which is action taken reports. So Treasury memoranda is for Auditor General reports. So, yeah. So, Honorable, Kiraka will help you, okay, to extract what was a chief whip. Your office should re-communicate to the minister what action he was supposed to do. Esther? Yes.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the procedure I'm raising concerns the procedure we are following as far as the legislation process. You realize that many times we sit here, we have the key legal advisor of government who is provided for under Article 119 of our Constitution, the Attorney General, but many times matters or issues are again brought back without him standing to give that legal advice. Probably of some gaps we would have seen as Parliament committing, and then later on, like the last time we saw a letter is writing to Speaker over that bill you just mentioned. So the procedure matter I'm raising, will it be procedure right as we process bill to continue having the inputs of the Attorney General, not even giving where the gaps are at the time of processing a given bill? So will it be procedure right if the Attorney General came and explained to us whether his office is really continuously being worth in the processing of a bill?
Thank you. Honorable, we tackled that matter yesterday. It was raised as a point of procedure by Honorable Semuju, that exact matter. And specifically with that letter, I promised we are going to first meet Doug before we pronounce ourselves as presiding officers on the matter, because we were also, it was disturbing. Issues where the Hansard is clearly showing that you said this is okay, this is okay, this is okay. Then the next day, you sign a letter contradicting what we agreed here. Now, it's like accusing us, really, that we bulldozed you into something, which is not good. But also, I keep reminding honorable ministers that the business we do here is not for us MPs. Bills are not for even ministers are members of parliament. So the indictment is on all of us. Okay, on all of us. If bills keep being returned, then we shall ask ourselves, where is the problem? But as a leadership, and we shall involve the chief whip and the leader of opposition and some few selected members, we tackle this issue head on. But we wanted first meet Doug. The same. Rob?
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my brief reaction to your communication relates to the matter of the motion that I moved yesterday and taken by the House in a vote, which the Right Honorable Speaker curiously called it to ascertain the numbers that were obtaining to it. Right Honorable Speaker, when I moved under this rule, I clearly stated that 59 K, and of course the Speaker, being the rules custodian, had an idea of the implications. I am not in any way trying to accuse the Speaker of twisting me and the bill attendant. I'm only saying that I only pray that your guidance on the matter compels the minister to act and in the immediacy. The matter we're discussing relates to the nature of retort the Minister of Finance was making on the Bujaga report. The ministers believe that they have 400 years to act on our reports. And that's why he thought he had 6 months. But Bujaga relates to money we badly need. And so is the gold report. And that's why I was praying yesterday that if only you could instruct that the committee begins in earnest and delivers before the budget is considered, that we can know that there's extra revenue coming into our coffers. So I would like to pray, Right Honourable Speaker, that while I take your guidance without retorting, that you give further instructions, that the minister comes here prepared to make a proper count, and it does not come here with the same vague report that requires us to again investigate. The issues were very clear. He's making reference to documents and the commitments. They're not in the House. Otherwise, if to in your view, Right Honourable Speaker, that the minister delivers at the earliest next week, and then the committee or parliament, relevant committee, would consider her statement and report to the House in the immediacy, I so pray, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lop. And I'm really sorry this happened. It shouldn't have been this way. I'm only trying to safeguard that we don't do work and where we've given someone room to easily challenge the work. So I really thank you for understanding me and my dilemma in this regard. So I hear the minister should report back on Tuesday. On Tuesday, the minister should bring a comprehensive statement capturing all these details. Moreover, she picked our issues because these are issues that are clear. You know, a statutory instrument cannot amend the statute of parliament, period. That's very clear. Then, if we receive it on Tuesday, we can ensure that indeed the committee that is relevant can consider it on Wednesday, and on Thursday it reports back, so that all these forms part of the budgeting process. This is very critical information. That's a source of revenue we want. It's a source of revenue. We are looking for money to allocate. So since we've sensed that there is money somewhere, we are going to follow it up seriously. I had allowed Honorable Alex. Let me first. Yes, he had a procedural matter.
Thank you
Honorable
very
Alex,
much, Mr. Chairman. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker. I have just a major small concern, major but small in a way. When you look at Rule 220, action taken on reports, I wanted to go through it very, very quickly. That one, a minister shall submit to Parliament an action taken report detailing what actions have been taken by the relevant ministry following the resolutions or recommendations of Parliament. It is a very good rule, but it's not timed. In other words, you can even take a whole term.
No, Honorable we make it very easy for you.
Because
at the end of each and every report, okay? As a presiding officer, I look at the urgency and then I give a time frame. So the time frame we give, because I can give a time frame of 2 days, of 1 day. Usually the maximum is 3 months, okay? So it's now with the presiding officers working with the clerk to go back to ensure that the time frame we gave, the action taken report is brought to the House.
Thank you very much for that guidance. Otherwise, I was also trying to call for a revisit to this this rule, so that time is given within which action taken should be reported back to this very House to make us more effective. I thank you.
Right,
Right Honorable Speaker, the minister is committed to your guidance, but Monday is a public holiday and Tuesday we have cabinet. So, and he needs to consult. So I request that we give him more time so that he can consult and come back here with what will benefit Parliament. Thank you.
Colleagues, you know, we don't want to give people excuses, saying he denied me time to consult. We can do by 1 day. We can extend by just 1 day. So that instead of Tuesday, she reports on Wednesday, and we give her time to consult cabinet. Because you know, someone to say you even denied me an opportunity to consult cabinet which had assigned me is giving excuses. Yeah, so Europa, I think 1 day is okay. 1 extra day, Wednesday, okay? Yes, and no, Honorable Mara this man. Honorable Semuju.
Mr. Speaker, President Museveni was the Speaker of Parliament. And for that period, I think he ran to be Speaker of how things are done in Parliament. The procedural issue I am raising, you've just read a letter referring the anti-homosexuality legislation back to Parliament. But the former Speaker of Parliament, Yoweri Museveni, yesterday met the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. I am a member of that committee. You have now referred the same bill to the same committee. When the former Speaker, I don't know whether he still thinks when you are a former Speaker, you still continue. He has also referred the same bill to the committee. He met them yesterday. Me, I didn't go. So the procedural issue I am raising, Mr. Speaker, regards the interaction of committees with the president, with ministers. In the last Parliament, the chairperson of the Committee on Natural Resources then wrote to the president pleading that he must not close the Rural Electrification Agency. And the Speaker came here and said, please, you should never interact with the president without the authority of the Speaker of Parliament. And I thought that ruling remains. So I want to find out, Mr. Speaker, under which was the former Speaker, Mr. Yoweri Museveni, meeting a committee of parliament on a bill he has not officially referred to parliament.
Thank you. Now, colleagues, number one, I don't have any formal communication regarding a meeting between the president and some people. Yes, I don't have a formal communication. Number two, the president can consult anyone. And I think that's why Honorable Semuju didn't go, because he didn't want to be consulted. Okay? So, but what I will do, I will ask the committee chairperson, under what arrangement, whether it was under their NRM arrangement, because you see, these committee people like the ones of NRM are deployed by the SEC, which SEC is chaired by the president. So, and can be consulting his people. So I don't know whether Semuju was about to be also conscripted into the same, and he came to know and he refused. Okay. Yeah, so these are informal consultations. For us here, we deal with things which are formal. Now, the ruling of the former speaker on that issue was because there was a formal document she could refer to. Now, me, I don't have anything formal I can refer to make a clear ruling on the matter. My hands are tied. So, so you people, Chief Whip, you should always also call us. Maybe we go with you if you attended. But colleagues, let's go. Let's go on the business, okay? Honorable Christine, colleagues, let's go on the business. Honorable Christine, what's that ban?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable, before I mention the procedural issue, allow me thank you for accepting to be our chief worker last Sunday, and thank the members who turned up, the honorable members, for the work. It was successful. Allow me also thank the honorable members who took part to be in Bugiri yesterday. Thank you very much. The procedural matter I'm raising, Honorable Speaker, is that wouldn't it be procedural right that you give the time frame to the Committee of the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs on the time they have to report back to the House, since this is a very contentious issue across the country?
Thank you. I need the committee to report back on Wednesday, and colleagues, on Wednesday we shall process the bill as returned so that we pass it and we finish our part. Thank you. Honorable Amos, procedure.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, issues about any bill that we processed in this House, sometimes people challenge it so deeply. And because of that, we need to be very strict to follow the procedures that govern it. You have just stated that next week, the committee would be required to report back. But in our procedures, 148, clause 2, they are given within 2 weeks. If it is so within 2 weeks, we have to be strict and make it within 2 weeks so that nobody should. Let me finish. It is not you speaking.
You're protected.
Thank you so much. If it is calculated and it is within 2 weeks, because we need to be very careful so that nobody should find a room in any way to say that we have flooded our procedures in this House. It is very true that even though we are denying facts, but this is in the all public media, that at least the sections of some member of parliament, including the mover of the bill, also went and had a meeting somewhere in the same thing that we are talking about.
Okay.
Therefore, in order for us to keep the integrity so that we move as one body and consider this anti-homosexuality bill, we have to follow our rules. I want to thank you so much.
Thank you. Honorable, really, just for your reassurance, you have made it very clear within 2 weeks. Meaning, even if I said they report tomorrow, it would have been within 2 weeks. The problem is if we go outside beyond 2 weeks, okay? So to Wednesday will be within 2 weeks, Honorable. I want to give you that comfort. So you better be here and you do the necessary. And we shall use the same method we used. We shall do roll call. We shall do roll call on all of you, on each one, and to know who will be here. So that issues of quorum and all that. So your constituents will be watching. Honorable Kayemba.
Thank you, sir. Right Honorable Speaker. I stand under our rules of procedure, Rule 42. 3 weeks back, the Speaker asked the Minister for Sports, Education and Sports, but Sports, about the status of Nambole Stadium when our team had played away in Egypt for our home game. The Minister standing here promised the country that the next game, which will be on 12th June, will be played in Nambole. Yesterday, we saw communication that Uganda is going now to host in Cameroon. Imagine. So, Right Honorable Speaker, are we proceeding well when the Minister of Sports can stand in this house and lie the country?
Thank you. Now, Honorable, before you conclude, you see, if you want me to interpret the procedure rule applies to a member who is on the floor. Okay? So I don't know, from your interpretation, he might be on the floor, but you're raising a valid question in terms of what he promised the country. No, in 1 minute, you think, as he's coming, colleagues in the public gallery this afternoon, we have students and teachers of Daffodils Education Center from Kampala Central, Kampala District, represented by Honorable Muhammad Sereko and Honorable Shamim Marende. They've come to observe proceedings of this house. Please join me in welcoming them. You look so smart and beautiful, and you know. Yeah. Thank you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues. First of all, allow me to begin by thanking the Shadow Minister of Sports for the issue he has raised. Right Honorable Speaker, it's true I made a statement here, and it's not the first, nor will it be the last. I want to confirm. As of today, it is true Uganda Cranes, the national team, will not play a home game on 12th June in Nambole because the project of the renovation of Nambole will not be in order to host that game in Nambole. So, Mr. Speaker, I have made this to the country, and I want to repeat it here, that I personally take responsibility for any delays which have occurred on the renovation of Nambole for purposes of Uganda Cranes playing at home. However, the government of Uganda will facilitate, like it has always done, all national teams, including Uganda Cranes, to host its game in the country where the federation has thought it fit, not the government. I thank you. And for the record, I want to guarantee, Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, protect me from Honorable Secretary.
Point of order.
Mr. Speaker, the issue raised by the Shadow Minister for Sports is the issue of lying. And it doesn't matter how confident with which you lie and how many times you seek to lie again. The issue is that a minister here in this government stood here, lied to Parliament, lied to the country that our facility is now available.
Because a home game does not mean only players. A home game means a home crowd to lift the spirit of players. And that's why almost all the games played at home here, we are winning. We are now losing because we are refugees in other countries. Is the minister in order, Mr. Speaker? Not to apologize to Parliament and to the country, and to continue with a broad smile as if he's speaking about something very good.
Thank you.
That his government will sponsor 25 players, and that this government will make the national team, the Ukraine, a refugee team with no home, with no country, that will be wandering and loitering around the continent looking for a facility. Is in order, Mr. Speaker?
Now, honorable colleagues, relying on the record of Parliament here would be really criminal. Yeah, and it would mean that you had an intention. Now, how I understood the minister is that he projected that with the efforts they are putting in and the support they are all getting, by the next game, we should be. Sometimes we do projections, we get it right, sometimes we fail to achieve. Okay, so failing to achieve, to hit the target, Honorable Minister, because I have seen him there, really, I follow him on Twitter. He has been in number all the time updating the nation and all that. But honorable colleague, just tell colleagues, you're sorry, your projection didn't work well, but you're working hard to sort out the matter.
Mr. Speaker, of course, my colleagues don't want me to smile, and I don't know what I should do. That is my nature.
They want you to look sad.
Maybe they want me
so
to
can
look
you
sad.
look sad so that you satisfy your colleagues?
Unfortunately, maybe I should blame my God or my mother, but that's not for here. However, Right Honorable Speaker, first of all, I want to put it on record. I'm at pain. First of all, as a Minister of Sports. Number two, I have personally taken responsibility, apologizing to you and the country. I have made it public. Secondly, like you have said, I had a meeting with my technical team and we looked at all possible ways of having that game played here at home. But Mr. Speaker, there are certain details in line with why this has not happened, which is also within the procurement laws of this country, which none of us wanted to break it. So for that matter, I want to say, we continue with our project, and the project is within the timeline of the contract. Because the timeline of the contract, that contract is meant to expire in July, August. So for that matter, colleagues, the UPDF, the Minister of Works, which is a consultant, and us, the Minister of Education and Sport, which is a client, are all working together to ensure that we complete our stadia for the further coming games in Uganda. For this one, I want to say this, that fellow countrymen and women, I personally want to take that responsibility. I thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, Honorable Minister, on your next visit, you invite your shadow minister. You know, it feels good.
Honorable Speaker.
Yes, invite your shadow minister.
I want to request that, first of all, I will invite the area member of parliament, who is my very good friend, Honorable Semuju. But I also want to ask the Honorable Minister of State for Works, who is a consultant of the project. He wants to give additional information. Mr. Speaker, permit me to invite him to say a word.
Please, Honorable Cheru.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank Honorable Peter Gwang for the humility. The reality is that by some coincidence, those of us who are driving this process, we happen to come from the same region. So there might be some questions. Why Cheru and Ogwang? Ogwang is the client, Minister of Education and Sports. Cheru is in charge of works by some good coincidence. I am here, Mr. Speaker, to confirm that Peter Gwang here supervises us, much as my team gives technical support. He summons me, he summons Honorable both regularly to Nambole to keep abreast of what is happening in Nambole. My ministry, for some reason, the technical people found that there was we must not hurry anything. So we want to deliver Nambole that is internationally acceptable. That's what we are doing.
Thank you. It seems the area MP is, what do you see there?
I have given support to Nambole since we went there with the Honorable Bua to commence the renovation. But the clarification I want the government to give, of all countries, why do you choose Cameroon? And then for birthday parties of the president's son, you go to the neighbors. Why don't you go to Rwanda and pray, for example, from there?
First of all, Mr. Speaker, sir, unfortunately, my good friend, Mr. Speaker, can I be protected?
Please, please. And inform us if you brought some cake for Honorable Semuju, if there was.
Maybe for the record, since Honorable Semuju likes talking about my very good friend, General Mozika Nerugaba, for some of us who love him, maybe we should organize a party within the precincts of Parliament here for the birthday.
No, you can go to his constituency.
So for purposes of the record, however, let me answer the question. The decision to determine where the game is to be played is not the responsibility of government. It's the responsibility of the federation. An attempt by us as government to force the federation to determine becomes interference. As government, we fund the national team. I thank you.
Thank you. Now, Honorable colleagues, this is closed. Okay? Colleagues, we have an order paper. You see, at the end of the day, they will ask how many items did we cover on the order paper. Okay, so let's go back to our order paper. Now, concluding with my communication, colleagues, we have the Parliamentary HIV/AIDS Awareness Week going on. So I would just request the chair, just 2 minutes, because it's not a statement, it's my communication.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Members, Parliament, through the HIV and AIDS Committee, together with our implementing partners, have organized an HIV/AIDS Week, Advocacy Week that started yesterday, and it will run through until tomorrow. Right Honorable Speaker, the reason for this Advocacy Week is to bring members of Parliament on board. We are not doing so well as far as the new infections, and we want to rejuvenate the country in the fight against HIV, and more especially, the infection is high in the teenage girls. Out of the 5 teenagers who are infected with HIV, 4 of those are young girls between the age of 15 and 25. This is a very dangerous age because they are sexually active and they are involving with the different men outside there. Right Honorable Speaker, we are also noticing a lot of the viral suppression, the low viral suppression amongst young children. And it's mainly in the islands, that is Kalangala and Buvuma, where children are dying in big numbers because they are failing to suppress the viral, to suppress the viral load. Right Honorable Speaker, we are appealing to members of Parliament.
Conclude.
We are appealing to members of Parliament to come on board, work together with the committee and Parliament to ensure that this is addressed. We are working together with the different implementing partners. Right now, we are operating at Parliament, Mini Price, and the Rere Park. Right, Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, I want to thank the men. Yes, in our advocacy week, we have seen big numbers of men turn up for testing. We have seen big numbers of men turn up for blood donations. Our target yesterday was 200 units. We were able to get 116 units of blood. Today by 10 o'clock, we had already secured 70 units of blood. So if we move like this, we are going to achieve our target. And Right Honorable Speaker, we want to thank you for according us time and also leading the move, the walk in donating blood to save our children who are dying with anemia. With that, I want to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for according us this little time to pass this communication. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, you're serving the public. We are giving back the community. So let's all be involved. Let's be involved in community activities, and especially the issue of donating blood seems to be a very, very serious issue where they need all our support. Next item.
Item number 3 on the order paper. Statement by ministers on 1, the negotiation of the new post-Cotonou agreement between the European Union and the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States.
Honorable, all issues of national importance, tomorrow I'm sweeping them through, I'm capturing them. I really, really request you, allow me tomorrow. The Prime Minister will be here with support. We've agreed. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I do present a statement to Parliament on the negotiations of the new post-Cotonou agreement between EU, the Organization of the African, Caribbean, and Pacific States. Mr. Speaker, permit me to lay on the table the agreement before I proceed. Right Honorable Speaker, the Cotonou Agreement between EU member states and members of the Organization of Africa, Caribbean, and Pacific, now known as OACPs, formerly ACP, states is a legally binding treaty which outlines the vast framework for cooperation between the two sides in areas such as trade, development, cooperation, and political dialogue. The spirit of a common foundation defining common values between the two sides has been negotiated and agreed upon successively since Lome I in 1976 and renewed in the Cotonou 2000 and is now being negotiated for adoption under the new framework. The institutional setup of the convention provides the Council of Ministers, Committee of Ambassadors, and Joint Parliamentary Assembly meeting regularly and periodically as required in Brussels. Unlike the negotiations within the multilateral forum of the United Nations, the OACP's EU negotiations are carried out by chief negotiators selected by regions within OACPs and from the EU, representing the broad interests of two sides. Negotiations for the new Cotonou Agreement began on 28 September 2018. The chief negotiators at the time were Jutta Upilainen, the EU Commissioner for International Partnership, and Robert Duce, Togo's Minister of Foreign Affairs for OACPs. On 3rd December 2020, the chief negotiators announced a political deal had been reached. The agreement, however, has not been signed due to lack of endorsement by one EU member within the Joint Parliamentary Assembly, and thus has been extended since then by the Committee of Ambassadors. Nevertheless, chief negotiators initialed the text on 15th April
2021. In terms of procedure, the agreement has to be adopted by the Council, the Commission, the European Parliament on the side of EU, and approved and ratified by OACPs in accordance with its own procedures. The deadline for the conclusion of the current old agreement and the entry of the new agreement is 30th June 2023. Uganda's interests in the negotiation of international agreements are taken care of by the ambassadors plenipotentiary entrusted with representing the Republic of Uganda in their respective areas of accreditation, and especially in multilateral missions. This responsibility draws from the Vienna Convention on the Laws of Treaties 1969, which outlines the context within which full powers may be construed and the context in which a negotiated text is adopted and authenticated. In this particular case, Uganda has always pursued her interests in the negotiations for a new post-colonial agreement, bearing in mind our critical concerns for market access, as well as an invigorated cooperation with the EU in terms of economic, social, and political cooperation. During the negotiations at the Committee of Ambassadors, our diplomats emphasized our national position on issues that raise concern. It's my responsibility as Minister of Foreign Affairs. In my responsibility as Minister of Foreign Affairs, I have emphasized the imperative of seeking authority from the capital for the conclusion of any treaty which would bind the Republic of Uganda. This is more so since the conclusion of any international agreement requires further ratification and adoption by Parliament. In this regard, Mr. Speaker, I have put in place mechanisms to remind heads of missions to desist from conclusion of binding commitments evidenced international treaties without referring the matter to the Ministry for consultation, evaluation, and consent. In conclusion, the post-colonial partnership agreement between the EU and OACPs has not yet been entered into force. For that to happen, it has to conclude the processes as explained above. It has so far been initialed by the chief negotiators and not any representative of government of Uganda. Mr. Speaker, I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for the update. I happen to lead the delegation for the OACPs and EU, especially the Joint Parliamentary Assembly. You know, they try to bulldoze us, and this is what we told them. So you need to communicate to our ambassadors, because they took it that since your chief negotiator initialed, it's a done deal. In fact, on their side, they are saying it is only Hungary which is delaying each and everything. So, and they are saying there is no more room for negotiation. But our biggest concern, Honorable Minister, was some clauses which had been embedded and initialed. And we even interacted with the chief negotiator, who said it was a compromise they reached on your behalf, that you gave them power. But on issues where they were defining human rights to include gender orientation and differences. And Honorable Minister, especially Part 1, Article 3, whereby they say the parties agree to combat all forms of discrimination, including discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. And they were saying, look, here we cover issues to do with LGBT. If you want to cooperate with the European Union, you must agree to this. If you don't, you know, and even threatening, which is so disturbing. So this is the matter which I want you to take a very, very keen interest in. For now, let's have this. I shared it with His Excellency the President. These are issues you need to bring to his attention. Because even the delegates from other African countries who came here, they shared with him, he was shocked. So you need to take very, very serious attention. I'll keep in constant touch with you even if it means you joining us on our next engagement for clarification, but we ensure we don't sign any document that binds us in terms of such issues are concerned. I'll be guiding on how best we will treat this document after meeting the delegates that are part of the OACP delegation. That's enough, Honourable Minister. Okay. Next item.
Item 3.2, statement by the Minister on funds for the National Digital Television Distributor, Signet Uganda.
Honourable Minister for Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I request to bring this statement on Thursday next week.
Okay, but Honourable Minister, what we needed most, if I can tell you in advance, was action. Because we need you to pay for Signet fees so that our communities outside Kampala can be able to access free-to-air services. You know, we are here saying we give money to UBC, we do what, but our communities outside Kampala are not receiving free-to-air services on Signet. So what we need, and UBC said this because of how much, Honorable Kambale, Honorable the Minister of State for ICT is here. Okay, you might not have the figure at hand quickly, but you can.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I don't have the exact figure, but I'll bring it to you.
But that's the issue. That's
yes,
the
yes, it is the only issue.
Okay, they are cut off. Our communities up country are cut off free-to-air services. So we need, they petitioned the MPs, they need to be accessing free-to-air services. Thank you. Next item.
Item 4 on the order paper, laying of papers. Special audit report on ESCOM Uganda Limited, end of concession on the Naruba-Rekira hydropower plant complex, the buyout amount as at March 31st, 2023.
Commissioner. European Parliamentary Commissioner. Where's the report? Yeah.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay a report entitled Special Audit Report on ESCOM, end of concession on the Naruba-Rekira hydropower plant complex, the buyout amount as at March 31st, 2023. I beg to lay.
Thank you, Lop, and Commissioner. The report is referred to the Committee on Kosase for further processing. Next item.
Item number 5 on the order paper, motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Defense and Internal Affairs on disparities in district quotas for shortlisted applicants for the post of probationary police constables and drivers in the recruitment exercise by Uganda Police Force.
No, colleagues, I don't see the Minister for Internal Affairs here. No, Chief Whip. I know General David Mozi called and he requested he would be out of station, returning tomorrow. He'll be in the house tomorrow. But did you consult the other minister? Yes, Chief Whip, because we think you have enough capacity to address the issues that will come out of the report. You can do without a minister or?
Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, I can also confirm that the Honorable General David Muhoozi notified me that he will not be around today, but I cannot account for the senior minister.
Yes. Honorable Songo.
There is a big challenge, and indeed some of us on record at Lolo opposing big numbers of ministers. I'm scoring high. There's a very common practice here of senior ministers not entering appearance in this house, and they are leaving every work for junior ministers, which is not fair. And some of them are even ex-officials to this parliament. They should be appearing. Now here we are, Mr. Speaker, with the order paper, and the chief whip is telling you he's not in the knowledge of the absence of a senior minister. Now, who is fooling who? Well, no, Mr. Speaker, sir, I pray, I think we have to go back and revisit our constitution. We abide by it. This big number of ministers is not solving anything. And even if you ask the PL, each child in primary 7 to name ministers in Uganda, he will fail a question.
Thank you.
I don't know what we should do. Everything you can see, Honorable Musasizi, he replaced Honorable Hati. Honorable Matia Kasaja is on and off. All senior ministers, and they are in Kampala. Mr. Speaker, sir, they are in Kampala. And they are voting everywhere for leaders to create a way for us. And we all suffer with the potholes in the country.
Thank you. Honorable Chief Whip, be trying to get us the minister. Let's be doing item 8. Yes, we shall come back. We shall come back to the matter after getting feedback from the Chief Whip. Let's give it a chance.
Item number 8 on the order paper. Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Health on a field visit to Kasese to assess the status of Kilembe Mines Hospital.
Chairperson, Committee on Health.
Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to present the report of the Committee of Health on a field visit to Kasese to assess the status of Kilembe Mines Hospital. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the original copy of the report with its annexes attached and minutes of the committee meetings. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay. Right Honorable Speaker, I would want to give a brief background of Kasese district, their health services, and then the river in question, before I narrow it down to the committee observations and recommendations. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to draw your attention to page 5, the background of Kasese district. It has 5 constituencies, 14 urban councils, 3 divisions, 27 rural sub-counties. There are 133 health facilities, of which 25 are private for profit and 17 are private not for profit. 91 of these facilities are government owned, and a total of the 47 facilities have antiretroviral services, meaning they are ART accredited, while a similar number are differentiated service delivery sites. Right Honorable Speaker, the table below, that's table 1, is a summary of the health services service delivery points in Kasese. That is on table 6. And as you can see, Right Honorable Speaker and members, there are a total of 133 health facilities, of which 92 are public, in other words, government health facilities. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, the table shows that out of the 92 government-owned health facilities, there is 1 general hospital, that is Bwera, and 2 health center 4s, Nyamirami and Rukochi Health Center 4. I want you to take a note of Rukochi because we'll be making reference to it in the subsequent sections of this report. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I would like to draw your attention to page 8. Page 8 at the top is River Nyamwamba. Now, the 257-kilometer river Nyamwanja is fed by both rainfall and melting glaciers from the Rwenzori Mountains, and it flows downwards through its river basin and finally into Lake George. The continued melting of the glaciers from the Rwenzori Mountains because of increase in temperature is causing the river to carry more water downstream. In the morning hours, the river is majorly dry, but during the hot afternoons, when the ice has melted, the water travels downstream in large quantities and causes flooding. This situation is made worse by the evening rainfall. So that's a synopsis of the river in question that's causing these floods. Bullet 2.2 is Kilembe Mines Hospital. The background of Kilembe Mines Hospital. Kilembe Mines started operations
Just
in...
use 20 minutes, main on observations and recommendations.
Well guided, Right Honorable Speaker. Kilembe Mines Hospital started operations in 1954 as a 140 to provide medical services to workers of the Kilembe Mines. Later, the management of Kilembe Mines Limited decided to extend provision of medical services to residents of Rwenzori sub-region and Kasese district in general. Prior to the 2020 flooding by River Nyamwanja, the health facility was providing orthopedic services to patients from Rwenzori sub-region and beyond. The hospital was located in Kilembe Valley, Bulembia Division in Kasese Municipality. Bulembia Division has a population of over 28,000 people and has Kilembe Health Center Dispensary as the only government health facility. Right Honorable Speaker, page 9, ownership of this hospital. Kilembe Mines Hospital is owned by Kilembe Mines Limited, a parastatal with 99.996 shareholding. Following plummeting copper prices in the 1970s, Kilembe Mines Limited could not adequately fund its operations, including the hospital services. This prompted management to source for partners for the hospital. Now, the management of Kilembe Mines Hospital is under a tripartite arrangement. In 1982, Kilembe Mines Limited entered into a partnership with the Catholic Church through the Diocese of Fort Portal to run Kilembe Mines Hospital. It was agreed Kilembe Mines Hospital was to continue providing medical services to workers of Kilembe Mines and the surrounding population. Right Honorable Speaker, due to its high operational costs, the partnership could not sustain the running of the hospital and approached government through the Ministry of Health requesting for support. In 1995, a tripartite agreement was signed between Kilembe Mines Hospital, the registered trustees of the Diocese of Kasese, and the government represented by Ministry of Health. It should be noted that the Diocese of Kasese was created out of the Diocese of Fort Portal. So according to the tripartite agreement, each of the parties was assigned the following roles. Kilembe Mines Limited was to own all assets and liabilities, effective the day of execution of the agreement, including newly acquired ones. P, Government of Uganda, represented by Ministry of Health through Kasese District Local Government, was to recruit and pay salaries for hospital staff. C, the Diocese of Kasese was to be responsible for the day-to-day administration of the hospital. The tripartite agreement was reviewed in 2003, 2010, and 2017. The last edition of the tripartite lapsed on 15th March 2022 after a 5-year duration. Under the agreement, Kilembe Mines Hospital was managed by a management committee comprising 10 voting members, answerable to the Minister of Health in accordance with Article 5. Right Honorable Speaker, Bullet 2.24, flooding of Kilembe Mines by River Nyamwamba. On 1st May 2013, River Nyamwamba burst its banks and flooded its catchment area, including Kilembe Mines Hospital. This was followed by flooding episodes in 2014, and most recently 2020. Prior to 2013, River Nyamwamba had last flooded 50 years ago. Those are the pictures, Right Honorable Speaker. It should have been much clearer in color. If you went to page 12, there are more pictures there. And the water really carried huge boulders. And these were responsible for the destruction of the infrastructure at the hospital. So these pictures speak louder than words. I'll not spend a lot of time there. I would like to draw your attention to page 15, expiry of the tripartite agreement. On 15th March 2022, the tripartite agreement expired and was not renewed by the parties. Kilembe Mines Limited, Kasese District Local Government, and Kasese Municipal Council informally agreed to continue running Kilembe Mines Hospital at a new site which is about 200 meters from the original Kilembe Mines Hospital. Kilembe Mines Limited, in consultation with the district leadership, resolved the health services be housed in Kilembe Mines Limited structures that were safer from the threat of floods. The structures were renovated by Kilembe Mines Limited while the local community offered free labor during renovation, after which health services resumed on April 1st, 2022. However, on 2nd December 2020, the Permanent Secretary Minister of Health, Dr. Diana Twine, wrote to joint medical stores to deactivate the credit line for essential medicines and health supplies for Kilembe Mines Hospital and directed that it is redistributed to other health facilities. The names are there, Right Honorable. It is against this background that the Committee on Health conducted a field visit to Kasese municipality. And the objectives of the visit are clear, Right Honorable Speaker. In the interest of time, I would like us to go to page 20, the committee observations, committee findings, observations, and recommendations. The current status of Kilembe Mines Hospital. What is the legal status of Kilembe Mines Hospital? The committee noted that upon expiry of the tripartite agreement on 15th March 2022, the parties did not renew the agreement. Therefore, the legal status of Kilembe Mines Hospital remains uncertain. The committee was informed that the Kilembe Mines Limited wrote to the Chief Administrative Office of Kasese District Local Government on February 24th, 2022, requesting for a continued partnership with government in managing Kilembe Mines Hospital, but no response has been received. That is Annex 5 of the correspondence letter. The same request was transmitted to the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Health, but there was no response to date. Right Honorable Speaker, on 5th March 2022, the Chief Administrative Officer of Kasese wrote to the Solicitor General seeking for legal interpretation of the status of Kilembe Mines Hospital, but no response has been received to date. The letter is attached in Annex 6. The committee found out that Kilembe Mines Hospital is managed by Kilembe Mines Limited and government through Kasese District Local Government and Kasese Municipal Council. However, it has no board, no laboratory accreditation documents, and official stamps, among others. Committee observations. Kilembe Mines Limited is willing to continue partnering with government of Uganda to provide medical services at Kilembe Mines Hospital, but government has been non-committal. The failure by government to provide guidance and way forward as requested for by the district leadership creates a lot of uncertainty and tension among the community. Currently, Kilembe Mines Hospital has no legal status within which the government structure, despite offering the much needed medical services to the people of Kasese, especially those living along the ranges of Mount Rwenzori. 3, lack of legal status also erodes the confidence of health development partners and stakeholders in providing support to Kilembe Mines Hospital. 4, Kilembe Mines Hospital and the local government authorities, that is Kasese District Local Government and Kasese Municipal Council, are operating under an informal arrangement. The committee recommends in the short term, Ministry of Health should engage Kilembe Mines Limited about the possibility of signing a bilateral agreement to offer health services to the community. This should include an evaluation of the repurposed facility opposite the old facility, which is currently offering services to be supported as a health center 4. Government obligation should include staffing, provision of medicines and sundries, primary health care, non-wage, and additional services like imaging and dental should be included. The Solicitor General should provide a legal opinion about the status of Kilembe Mines Hospital within 1 month of adoption of this report. The opinion of the Solicitor General will provide a way forward to the Ministry of Health and Kilembe Mines Limited regarding the future of the hospital. The management of Kilembe Mines Limited should explore the option of establishing Kilembe Mines Hospital as a community health facility for eventual recognition and support by the government. Physical state of Kilembe Mines Hospital. Committee observations. The original site of Kilembe Mines Hospital was severely destroyed and is prone to future flooding, meaning we cannot revamp the hospital. 2, Kilembe Mines Hospital provides services to a large catchment area. This includes 6 sub-counties in the mountainous areas with a population of 350,000 and Bulembea division with a population of 28,000. 3, the current facility across the road is functional and is providing outpatient, inpatient, maternity, and surgical services. 4, partners like Dakitari of Belgium are willing to support the facility in terms of setting up infrastructure and provision of medical equipment. The recommendations by the committee: the former site of Kilembe Mines Hospital should be condemned and there should be no future attempts to redevelop it. The Ministry of Health should expedite the process of bilateral agreement between Kilembe Mines Hospital Limited and government so as not to discourage potential donors from supporting the health facility. Staffing levels of Kilembe Mines Hospital. The committee recommends that the staff should be retained, but in units where there are excess or may be redundant because of limited scope of services, some can be redistributed to nearby government facilities. Bullet 6, availability of essential medicines and health supplies. Observations by the committee: the Ministry of Health deactivated the credit line for emergency health supplies for Kilembe Mines Hospital and redistributed it to Katadoba Health Center 3 and the rest that I mentioned. There is a high patient turn-up at the new site of Kilembe Mines Hospital, and this is straining the already meager resources. 3, currently the procurement of medicines and supplies at Kilembe Mines Hospital is through user fees and a monthly allocation of 7 to 9 million provided by the district. Recommendations by the committee: the Ministry of Health should restore the credit line for emergency medicines and health supplies for Kilembe Mines Hospital in the last quarter of this financial year to enable the facility operate optimally. Availability of equipment at the hospital. The committee recommendation is the Ministry of Health should harmonize opinions of the district leaders and the Diocese of Kasese in relation to the list of equipment, ownership, and the handover process. Functionality of nearby health centers, that is on page 25, Rukochi Health Center 4. The committee observations: Rukochi Health Center 4 is a high volume health center 4 which operates in a very small space with limited essential medicines and health supplies. Above, there is a picture of part of the health center 4 which had got burnt. Bullet 2, renovation roofing of the main structure which got burnt has not been prioritized, yet the incident happened 18 months ago. Bullet 3, future expansion of the health facility will be hampered by unresolved land conflicts with the government facilities. There's a nearby prison. Committee observations: the Ministry of Health should carry out a visibility study about re-roofing and renovating the burnt structure vis-a-vis setting up a new structure. This should be done immediately. Bullet 2, the conflict ownership of the 10 acres of land owned by Rukochi should be resolved immediately in order to cater for future expansion plans. Bullet 3, the Ministry of Health should construct staff houses at Rukochi Health Center 4, effective next financial year. Right Honorable Speaker, I'd like to draw your attention to page 28, suitability of the proposed new site for construction of a hospital. The committee was informed by the Kilembe Mines Limited. The committee was informed that Kilembe Mines Limited has offered Kilembe Mines Hospital 6 acres of land for construction of a new hospital. The land is 3 kilometers from the former hospital and is located on higher ground. It partly houses senior staff quarters at Kilembe Mines Hospital, at Kilembe Mines Limited. The committee was informed that the Office of the Prime Minister requested the Ministry of Water and Environment to conduct a geological survey on the new site to establish the level of risk in the event that River Nyamwanja floods again. However, the committee was not able to receive any feedback in regard to this report. The committee observations: the proposed new site for reconstruction of Kilembe Mines Hospital is the farthest from the water flow pathway of River Nyamwamba. There is no reliable early warning system about River Nyamwamba, and it's likely to burst its banks again and cause flooding. The committee recommends the Ministry of Water and Environment should conduct a study about suitability of the land at Kilembe Mine staff quarters for the construction of a health facility in the near future. This should be done before the end of this financial year. As government identifies an investor for Kilembe Mines Limited, one of the requirements should be construction of a community hospital on higher ground at the site of the 6 acres that were identified. Right Honorable Speaker, bullet 6.4 on page 29, progress of desilting of River Nyamwamba. In 2022, Parliament approved a 17 billion loan for desilting 5.4 kilometers of the river in order to prevent future occurrence of floods. Desilting involves maintenance of earthworks, putting gabions, and establishment of a dike. In addition to the desilting, the loan is supposed to be used for reforestation and giving startup capital to the locals to start alternative income generating activities. Works commenced on 18th July 2022. The contractor is Ambitious Construction and the subcontractor is Afro Building. The project areas are Masule, Chanjuki Village and Chanjuki Camp. In a meeting held with the Ministry of Water and Environment officials on 1st February, the Health Committee was informed that the progress of works was at 84% and the contract was meant to expire on 7th February 2023. During the committee's visit to Kilembe Mines Hospital, a grader belonging to one of the contractors was leveling the ground where some of the stones had been removed. However, the committee noted that the gabions built along the river banks were low and could easily be overflooded by the river, and the progress of works was minimal. So the 84% did not fit into the observations of the committee. Page 30 and page 31 are pictures. Right Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, committee recommendations: the Office of the Auditor General should take interest in the current scope of works and activities done versus the funds allocated. The Ministry of Water and Environment should involve the local community in identifying projects which are supposed to mitigate effects of environmental degradation and improve livelihoods. The population should be discouraged from settling along the slopes, riverbanks, and deforestation. 4, desilting of the riverbed should be done periodically to prevent high water levels during the torrential rains. Therefore, the Ministry of Water and Environment should purchase equipment for this purpose and hand them over to Kasese District Local Government. The height of the gabions in the low-lying areas, which is supposed to hold the river embankments, should be high enough and firm to prevent flooding. One of the observations was the gabions were quite low. Right Honorable Speaker, my conclusion, the committee's conclusion. If I go straight to second paragraph, Kilembe Mines Hospital has been exposed to 3 flooding episodes by River Nyamwamba in the last 10 years. The location of the hospital is in a low-lying area that is prone to flooding. The most recent floods of 2020 have destroyed the hospital beyond a repairable state, and any ambitious attempts to renovate the hospital puts the lives of the patients, health workers at risk. Therefore, this site should be declared not fit for purpose of a hospital and it should be closed. Given the large catchment area of Kilembe Mines Hospital, which includes the mountainous area, the removal of health services significantly affects the quality of life of this population. Therefore, the Ministry of Health should maintain health services within the vicinity of the defunct hospital as government prioritizes the recommendations above. This means the facility offering primary healthcare services across the road from the defunct hospital should continue to be supported by Ministry of Health and Kasese District Local Government. Any investor willing to take up Kilembe Mines Hospital should construct a hospital in a new location, not only for the workers of the mines, but as part of their corporate social responsibility. In the interest of environmental conservation, the Ministry of Water and Environment should protect the environs of River Nyamamba Basin, including its origin in the glaciers of Mount Rwenzori. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and colleagues. And thank you, Honorable Kambare Ferego, for reminding me give this report a quick attention on the floor. Honorable Minister, you wanted to give some feedback?
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank the chairperson of the Health Committee, Dr. Yume, and the entire honorable members on this committee for a comprehensive report presented to us this afternoon on Kilembe Mines Hospital. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, as a ministry, we do associate ourselves with some of the committee findings, observations, and recommendations. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to say that as a ministry, we have had several engagements with the Kasese district leadership, even with the members of parliament from that area. And we have moved to put some of the recommendations into progress. For example, we do appreciate and agree that there is population at Kilembe Mine is high. And as for, we are upgrading Rukotere Center 4 to the status of a hospital. But in the meantime, we are putting up a health facility within the vicinity of Kilembe Mines to serve the population. As to the recommendation of the committee's report, we await when the Kilembe Mines legal status has been cleared. And at the same time, we have moved to ask the district local leadership to deploy all the workers of Kilembe Mines within the public facilities where they are available to decongest many of the health facilities around. Right Honorable Speaker, colleagues, we as a ministry, we shall internalize further the committee's recommendations, and we see the action that we shall take therein as we look to ensure that the people of Kilembe Mines and Kasese, they get health services as they are required, and to ensure that we enhance and strengthen the facilities that are already available there. I thank you.
Thank you. Yes, so let me start with the MPs of the area. Yes, I open up debate. Honorable Kambare Ferego, and then woman MP.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. I want to thank the committee for the work they did by coming to Kasese and assess the situation on ground. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm the one who brought this matter on floor of Parliament. Why did we bring the matter on floor? Because as leadership of Kasese, the action that Ministry of Health took to deactivate the credit line for supply of medicine to the Kilembe Mines Hospital shocked to all of us, because that was really declaring people, allowing almost saying that people should die. We are happy that the committee came, but one of the recommendations that has been put in the report is what has made us happy. Personally, I'm happy that they should activate the credit line for the medical supplies. The minister has said she has been consulting us. But to be honest to this house, to date, the credit line for the medical supply has never been activated. And we are saying building Kilembe Mines Hospital is a long-term process. The short-term intervention is to have the credit line for the medical supply activated. Those people in that area, it was not their option that they should be affected by the floods. After being affected by the floods, Ministry of Health decided now to deactivate the credit line for the medical supplies. That made the situation for those people even worse. I want to thank the Committee of Health for having recommended.
Honorable, you ask for more time.
I ask for 1 minute.
Even now you're on a microphone. Please conclude.
I want to thank the committee for having recommended as a short-term intervention to have the credit line for the medical supplies activated. This is where we have a problem. Deciding to build Kilembe Mines Hospital in its original site and saying it should not be built, that is not a problem. We can decide any site, but the credit line which is giving people supplies of medicine is a short-term intervention, because when we don't have medicines now, the other area is long-term. What about the medicines now? That is where our point is. And it is our position as the leadership of Kasese.
Thank you.
The minister is here from Kasese. They are all here. That is our stand. We need medical supply as a short-term intervention.
Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable.
Woman MP Kasese.
Thank you, Right Honorable, for giving me another opportunity to talk about my hospital in Kasese District, Kilembe Mines Hospital. I thank the Chairperson Health Committee for the presentation of the report. Actually, what has made me very happy is the issue of talking about reactivation of the credit line. Right Honorable Speaker, you've heard about the population that was being served by Kilembe Mines Hospital. 360 from 6 sub-counties and 28,000 from a division. As I talk now, those people are at the mercy of the government. When Kilembe Mines Hospital was washed away by the floods, Kilembe Mines Limited provided other structures that are currently housing the hospital, where people are getting medicine from. So if that credit line is reactivated, my people are going to celebrate. Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of Rukoki Health Center. The maternity ward was burnt about 18 months ago. Government has done nothing to ensure that the maternity ward is worked on. It is the Rotary Club together with the people who fundraised to make sure that that ward is roofed. But women are still giving birth under trees, and those who are being served by Kilembe Mines Hospital have nowhere to go. I pray that the issue of reactivating the credit line is worked on so quickly so that the women can have somewhere to have rest or get medicine. Just as I've reported before, Right Honorable Speaker, just a minute, I reported about women, 5 women dying in just 1 week at Wera Hospital. Now, how about?
Thank you. Honorable Akroba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I also add my voice, Mr. Speaker, to appreciate the chair of the Committee of Health and also the entire committee for the detailed report. Mr. Speaker, Kilembe Mines Hospital does not only serve the people of Kasese as per the report. People of Ndibujo, and in fact the entire Rwenzori sub-region, we use Kilembe Mines Hospital, especially in the areas of fractured bonds, people who get accidents across that region are all referred. So it is really my prayer that government expedites the issue of considering to give Kilembe Mines Hospital a vote so that our people are really helped. The second issue, Mr. Speaker, is in line with the desilting, the issue of desilting rivers. In the report, I did hear about desilting, the need for desilting River Nyamwamba. In fact, we have a serious problem across the entire region, as you are aware, Mr. Speaker, that we are always affected by floods. If you go to Wundibujo, we have a river called the River Chirumia. There is a town council which had been approved by Minister of Local Government, which has already been displaced. People are already displaced because of desilting, the issue of desilting. It has caused a lot of flooding. So it is my prayer that when River Nyamwamba is—
Thank you.
1 minute. You also consider, government should also consider desilting River Chirumia. I thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Harold Muhindo. Let me finish Kasese and the individual group. Honorable Akobat, for your information, even also people from Mitoma, it's Kilembe Mines Hospital that has been serving us. Even especially on fractures. They are specialists and really people from that region. Now I think some are going to Mbare, people are moving up to Mbare, coming to Kumi, we all, the whole of that Western region, that's a specialized hospital for the whole of Western region. Yes, Honorable Harold Muhindo.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the committee for the report. Three things, Right Honorable Speaker, are starting from that point. I personally come from a place closer to Kagando Hospital. Kagando Hospital is a good facility that has given health services to people. This is, however, not friendly to the local human being, the local man, the local woman of Uganda. I want to speak that the local woman of Uganda, because even when we are neighbors, people have moved away from Kagando Hospital to go to Kilembe Mines. Even when they know that in Kilembe Mines, they are not so sure of accommodation, but at least it is pocket friendly. The issue of the tripartite arrangement of ownership has left Kilembe Hospital in balance. From the submission, from the report here and the submission of the minister, it seems like until the arrangement of ownership is cleared, this is when government is coming in. But I want to remind government that Kilembe Mines Hospital, the government of Uganda, and Kasese Diocese, these are the three parties that make the ownership. When the agreement expired, it automatically meant that government takes on its role. These are two partners that came to complement government. And now that their mandate expired, government continue with your role. Nobody's going to remind you that you now begin to make an before the information, I therefore want to ask that government really continues with your role to provide for the credit line, provide for the other facilities. Right Honorable Speaker, the minister has indicated very well that the staff from the hospital will be serving the population from the nearby facilities. I want to pray, Right Honorable Speaker, that the staff from Kilembe Mines go back to the nearby facility that has been established so that they serve the community around Kilembe and all over the country from that nearby facility that has been established. I want to thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Sowedi Kitanya.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I also want to thank the committee for the comprehensive report. I also want to thank the Minister for her response. But Right Honorable Speaker, I want to request government that we need to walk the talk. For some time now, we've been told that Rukoki Health Center 4 will be upgraded to a general hospital. Right Honorable Speaker, the Prime Minister told this House and the whole country that already 2 billion has been secured and that it has been allocated to this hospital. But nothing is going on, Right Honorable Speaker. We want to ask government to hasten the steps so that we can see some work on the ground. Our other concern, Right Honorable Speaker, is leaving the people in the Kilembe Valley without an option. Deactivating the credit line was simply an indictment that the people in that area should go and die. This is the reason, Right Honorable Speaker, we are saying that as a temporary measure, let us restore the credit line so that we wait for upgrading the Health Center 4, as we also wait for the construction of Health Center 3 in that area. I submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. I pick Iganga, Rakai. They need, they have a man next to them, so they need company. So, then Minister, I'll pick, you don't mind. You need it first get many views, then you guide the nation. Yeah? Being the Minister for National Guidance. Yes. Yes, I was picking. So I picked the three who were lining up. Then now, Honorable Yeri, I don't know, because even when you're standing, we have space in here. So I don't know whether now you're standing to be picked. This side I will come later. I don't know whether you're standing to be picked or standing how you are here. Okay? Okay, Honorable Yeri. Then I'll jump. I pick Honorable Feta. Then I come, I pick Haji. And Mangushu. Yeah, that Solomon. Yeah, Solomon. Solomon Seranga.
Thank you,
I'm
Right
going to give
Honorable
you time,
Speaker.
colleagues. 2 minutes each, and I'm not adding you any more minutes.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the Committee on Health for the report, and it's really worrying when it comes to matters of health and the government is not taking fast actions and it's relaxed. Yet we really know that health is wealth. If it comes to Kilembe Mines, if it has hospital, if it has not been given priority, yet we all know what happened and we've seen what happened, then also the people of Uganda, then we lose hope in whatever we've been promised. We've written, we've spoken for Uganda General Hospital to be elevated to a referral hospital, because I want to assure you, Right Honorable, that Uganda Hospital is the center hospital in the region. It serves more than 5 districts of Busoga region. It is having overwhelming numbers. You find that when people come, there are no drugs, but the government
And I have order. What's going on in between here?
The government has really kept a
Honorable
deaf ear.
Ministers, what's going on at the front bench?
So my prayer is, Right Honorable, that for matters of health, the government shouldn't even wait for investors. At least there are so many programs that the government has given priority and given monies. Why doesn't it come in even to construct maybe Kilembe Mines and elevate the hospitals that need to be elevated instead of looking up to investors? Because people's lives are really
are really at risk. I beg to
Thank
submit.
you,
Thank
Rakai.
you.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I want to take this opportunity to thank the Committee of Health for a well-informing and elaborate report on Kilembe Mines Hospital. And this sends a strong signal to government. Government has opted in many cases these days to run away from its responsibilities. For example, by what they did by cutting off the credit line without minding about the population that was benefiting from the hospital. This has recently been also witnessed in other ministries or other departments. For example, because of high dropouts, school dropouts during COVID time, they opted to close down all hospitals that had limited students. Instead of creating campaign awareness for students to go back to school, they opted for closing those schools. So this is the same case that is happening here. The issue of waiting for investors, I wonder as a member of parliament, what if the investors don't come? What will happen to the people of Kasese and the Western region that has been using that hospital? So, Honorable Minister of Health that is here, we urgently want you to address that issue. You're not supposed to be waiting for investors. If they don't come, that means the Kilembe people or the people of Kasese and the Western region will not have the health facilities. Secondly, the issue of silting is very important because it is threatening hospitals, it's going to go to schools, it's going to go to people's houses, settlement and everything. So I think that government should come up with a comprehensive plan on how to desilt River Nyamamba. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Katariwa.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to add my voice, what my colleague from Bundubujo raised, and you also added your voice there. I come from Chendodo, Right Honorable Speaker, and most of my constituency is along the highway, and that highway is prone to accidents. And Right Honorable Speaker, in the previous days when Kilembe Mines was still operating on a weekly basis, I would send there some accident victims because some of us always carry those accident victims to Kilembe Mines. As we talk now, all our people in all those districts are stuck, ranging from Mubende, Kagadi, Kibale, Chenjojo, Chegego, Fort wherever, because Kasese and Kilembe Mines specifically is known for those things of treating bones and fractures. Right Honorable Speaker, the other day we were here discussing the budget of health, and we're even of the view that we should ring-fence some of this money for health. And I'm surprised now I was sharing with my colleague here that I don't see it coming out well in this current budget. I also don't see it well in the supplementary. Right Honorable Speaker, this is a matter of emergency, which was in fact unforeseen. Why can't it be catered for and we get a special budget for Kilembe Mines and it's worked on and people get the service? I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honorable Feta. I picked you in order. So please.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the committee for the good work. However, I am a little bit disappointed that the ministry decided to deactivate the credit line without consultation. If they did not have the courtesy of consulting the local leadership, they should have consulted the area members of parliament, because the appropriation for that money is done from here, and you cannot choose to deny their people without consulting them. Kilembe Hospital has been serving the whole of this country. You are aware the activities of Kilembe Mines recruited citizens across the country, and they have been serving there. Right now, I am treating my auntie after she failed to get treatment from Kilembe, and I had to bring her and treat her from home. So I want to thank the committee. Yes, I agree with most of the recommendations you have put there. It is important an alternative should be found near there and should be established immediately. Two, I want to thank the religious institutions that have continued to make an intervention where government cannot adequately do its work timely. Because we have seen here, Kasese Hospital, Diocese, Fort Portal Diocese, they have been doing a good work. I think we should continue to thank them so that they are very good partners in Health Service Commission services. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, I had picked Siraji.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, this issue of Kilembe Mines is a very critical one, which requires immediate government intervention. This is an old hospital that had served a lot of districts from that sub-region. And the issue emanated from not desilting River Namwamba, which caused a lot of floods in order to flood into the hospital and into the nearby areas. And this parliament had approved 17 billion in order to desilt that river. I don't know whether this money that parliament had approved really functioned. We really need to have some investigation into that money, because we assume that if that river is not desilted, still that river is going to flood and it will cause problems in that area. And this parliament will not endeavor to approve another money in order to do desilting there when we have not accounted for the money which was already approved by this parliament. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to suggest that since this was an old hospital that has served this nation, transferring the hospital from that area where it had been constructed to another area, that is also going to be a very big work, which we need not to entertain, rather than doing the little work which will make that hospital serve the purpose for which it was established. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Solomon.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to join colleagues thanking the committee on health for the wonderful report that they have given. However, Right Honorable Speaker, I've picked one item that I felt it cuts across, that projects from the center that goes to districts. Most often, Right Honorable Speaker, the local communities or the local leadership are not involved. And if they are not involved, Right Honorable Speaker, the target, the productivity of the target is not good. I would request, Right Honorable Speaker, that in such a project of 17 billion plus, there must be a component. There is a component for community mobilization, such that if there is any restoration, the community must be mobilized to know the importance of restoring the environment. So now, if the contract is done without community mobilization, it means the community will not receive what they want. The minister must therefore, the Minister of Health must therefore help us and inform all the contractors to ensure that that component is utilized as required. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Saungu.
Honorable Speaker, you gave me a chance, Honorable Speaker.
I'm trying to say who?
Here is here. You gave me a chance. Yes.
That's a problem. We have seats and you remain standing. So let's please, colleagues, as long as we have seats, let all of us sit. Okay. So Honorable Yeri Ofono, then I go to Honorable Sewungu, I go to Honorable Christine, I go to Honorable Anifa, I go to Honorable Sibandi. Then I go here.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. We are standing because we have some problem elements in our legs. That's why we cannot sit throughout. Yeah, that's, so you'll excuse us for that.
That's a problem of being very tall.
Yeah. Right Honorable. First of all, I want to thank the committee for the report. Mine, I will go on the cause. Where is the origin of this problem? that is the flood. That is the original problem. So we really need to address the flood. If we don't address that, then the problem may still continue. So the source of the problem is the flood. How do we mitigate the floods in that hill? So this is where the climate change comes in. So they had a recommendation to the Minister of Water and Environment to do some work, but as we handle this situation, we should really also give the ministry some good budget so that they can address this. The Right Honorable Speaker, that's why I've already, I have a private bill on water harvest. Maybe one of the solutions would be, that flood will be harvested. And it can really, it can solve this problem, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So Honorable, I'll give you a chance. You come here, you explain to us how you want to harvest floods by law. Honorable, yeah, colleagues, innovations can come at any time. Even floods can be harvested.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was among the members of parliament who went with the leader of opposition then, the Honorable Betty Alo, to see what happened at Kasese. And by that time, there was cold blood and cold war between parliament and the executive. And the Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga, then first went to Kasese. Then later on, we went and the president found us there. But for us, we are locked in the hotel. We are stopped from going to see that hospital because the president was meant to be there at that particular time. And Mr. Speaker, when we got there, the situation was terrible. It was a catastrophe. And indeed, if you are speaking facts, it's not easy to restore that hospital, but government can secure money to restore it. Because even generators, everything was covered by silt and big stones, trees, trailers, and everything. However, the president, while there, gave assurance of putting into place that hospital. And Mr. Speaker, through you to the Prime Minister, as government, how do you feel losing a Catholic church, a Catholic church's hand, giving assistance to a hospital that is run by government? All Church of Uganda, all Islamic faith. Visit all your districts. Majority of these hospitals are either Catholic founded, they are stand. You have nothing. So the only answer to Kasese is you being fair to yourselves. The Catholic Church has the willingness. They don't steal. They don't cheat. They're ready to give you support. Then they are pulling out of the hospital and you think that's very easy. Mr. Speaker, the only remedy to Kasese is what the president promised. Let him put in place what he said while he was there so that they get a new hospital that is well furnished and then they will solve all problems.
Thank you. Chiboga.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I had people laughing off when a colleague suggested the harvesting of the flood. Actually, under rainwater harvesting, we talk of surface runoff harvesting. And so the flooding falls under the surface runoff. And in his proposed bill, rainwater harvesting will include surface runoff harvesting and then harvesting from the rooftops and other areas. But Right Honorable Speaker, this is what we call loss and damage in climate change. We are grateful to the Committee of Health, but at the same time, there are serious losses that were caused by River Nyamwamba overflooding. So in this case, when you try to relocate the hospital to a higher ground, there is also another potential effect of landslides. In the lower ground, it is flooding. So it is good that they recommended the use of geologists to advise appropriately. But Right Honorable Speaker, when climate change affects us, increased rainfall and water catchments also get filled up. And as a result, we get the overspread of this water, which affects very, very many infrastructure. We are therefore requesting that the constructions and renovations must be cognizant of these changes. We do not want to see a renovation that will still go down in 1 year because the floods occurred. The constructions.
Thank you. Mukono.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to appreciate the committee for its report. Mine is about the illegality of the status of the hospital. As we wait for the Solicitor General to clear the hospital, surely, first of all, I want to ask, the Solicitor General's office, Right Honorable Speaker, is fully staffed. I don't know why it takes it long for it to clear the hospital up to this time. So I want to appeal to government, to Solicitor General, surely to clear and leave and let the hospital work legally. Secondly, I want to talk about the new site that they want to open for the hospital. This time round, we request the Minister of Water and Environment to first do a detailed survey and give us a report of that new place that they're going to build the hospital, such that we are sure that this time the floods will not invade the hospital. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Honorable Nsibambi.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I also like to thank the committee for the wonderful report. And Right Honorable Speaker, when you look at the committee findings and recommendations, it appears government is in agreement with the findings, observations, and recommendations. However, what shocked me this afternoon is for the minister to keep saying, we are looking at, we are almost taking time over a matter to do with people's health. Actually, the partners, the Catholic Church and Kilembe Mines, are the ones actually begging government to come and work. Instead of government really begging and thanking these people for being there, it is our responsibility as Parliament to take this matter beyond the committee recommendations. We have a feeling of saying, I pray, I pray. It's not about prayer. We should now give directives to government. Yes, they are talking about geologists coming in, flooding waters and Nyamamba. These people deserve medical attention wherever they are. We are building marinas and giving grants of 80 billion to build a restaurant over the water. But you cannot contain a simple river because you are giving 17 billion only. A few revelers, tourists, and people in Kampala, 80 billion grant to build a restaurant, a marina over the water. A population of 400,000 is suffering and people are dying because I hear geologists have tried to report. So it's my prayer that this time around, you should not just lament and thank committees for writing.
Thank you. Wadiomu, Kwanya, and then Okot and Remricha.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Committee of Health for the good report. Right Honorable Speaker, in this report, for me, I'm going to look into two areas. One, the area of retaining the staff. I think if we can go by that recommendation, then it will give our people confidence and even to serve our people at their best because they will know that they are going to be retained by the government. Two, it will also reduce on the problem of brain drainage.
we have been suffering in this country because of that our people are being forced to go outside this country after losing where they have been working. Two, Right Honorable Speaker, really people of Kasese, they are still there. And the hospital is still there. Why is it that the government went ahead to cut off the credit line? Because really these people are there and really they need these services. So I think we should just tell the government that they should come up and give those people the medicine they need so that we protect their lives, because it's a duty of the government to protect Ugandan and to make Ugandan to live healthy lives. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Minister, I've been interacting with the leaders. The emergency issue, the quick one they want is reactivation of the credit line. If that one they need it as soon as yesterday, so that they can start surviving, then the rest can be coming. They are really dying. If you wanted to respond to specifically that, yeah, specifically that.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable colleagues, the pain that you feel for our people is the same pain that we too feel. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to say one word as my minister from Kasese comes in. The reactivating of the credit line, the MOU was done between Kilembe Mines, of course with support from the Kasese Catholic Church and joint medical stores. And when it expired, the only way as a ministry could do was to have another MOU understanding with the Kilembe Mines or the District Local Council of Kasese. But then, as the committee has said, we are still faced with now the legal status. And it is our hope as a ministry that still we need to sit with the Kasese local leadership and work out how we can have an immediate solution by way of an MOU, either together with the joint medical store or with the national medical stores. And we take it in good faith and we shall expedite it. That's what I can say as of now.
Thank you. Now, I've seen there are other agencies that are in between. Right Honorable Prime Minister, let us assign you this, that you work with the Minister for Health to bring the Attorney General on board. I'm also going to be involved personally on this. From here, I'm going to call the Solicitor General. That's why should this take forever? When which excuse can you giving for denying people medicine? Really? Huh? Honorable Kabianga, you wanted to say something about this?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I stand here as a minister from Kasese, but also a former mayor of Kasese who supervised that hospital, and also a former employee of Kilembe Mines for 15 years. And therefore, I know the history of that hospital very well. I think as soon as the tripartite agreement collapsed, because the Catholic Church was no longer interested in going ahead with the tripartite, they didn't, first of all, they didn't want to continue operating from Kilembe because of the floods. For them, they wanted to operate from Kasese town where they have enough land. And the three parties, the government of Uganda, Kilembe Mines Limited, and Kasese Catholic Diocese didn't agree on that relocation. And therefore, the Catholic Church pulled out and decided to set up its own hospital. And as soon as, unfortunately, it was also when they pulled out, the agreement was about to expire. So they said we are no longer interested in the tripartite. Now, what should have been done and what I have been advising was, since the tripartite has collapsed, we should go into a bilateral between Kilembe Mines and government of Uganda. That was the first thing. Even the activation was because now there was no relationship. The three people had gone each separate. And therefore, the two who are government and they are related should have gone into a bilateral. Because before that, the medicine was being purchased from Joint Medical Stores is owned by the Catholic Medical Bureau and Protestant Medical Bureau. And they serve their what? Their hospitals. Now, this would mean now the medicine will be purchased from national medical stores. So all those are things, legal issues which should have been done. But now the committee has come up with very beautiful observations. If you read the report in details, and they have also come up with very beautiful recommendations. But just as you have said, what the people of Kilembe want, just immediately, while we are fast tracking this MOU, is at least some medicine to keep them moving.
That's it.
That is all. And Right Honorable Speaker, Kilembe Mines already has some money on the account, 200 million shillings on the account. But it cannot access it because of those legal issues.
Which account?
The Kilembe Mines. You know, Kilembe Mines Hospital was operating an account. And they already have 200 million on the what? On the account. But because of those legal issues now, who should operate? Because the Catholic Church was chairing the board. And there were relationships that for a medical superintendent, the Catholic Church must, even when you appear before a service commission, the bishop should recommend. So there were so many issues, so many terms in that agreement. Lastly, Right Honorable Speaker, this was a hospital which was private but non-for-profit. So there was cost sharing. But now if we go into a new relationship, we want it to be public, so that nobody should do what? Should pay. So we have to look at new terms, which is bringing problems, Mr. Speaker. Yes, people are dying. And that's why I'm saying, if we can allow in the interim for Kilembe Mines Limited, Kilembe Mines Hospital as it is, to access this 200 million to keep buying medicine, as we fast track the legal issues, so that now we can see how to move, it would be the solution. But this committee has made very good recommendations. If we go by them, we shall sort out the problem. But if we go by emotions, we shall sort out the problem. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Now, you see, me, I really get concerned. Okay? I don't know. I don't know why people take forever to make decisions. I don't know why people take forever to make decisions. Why should it be really just the legal status and finishing an MOU? But from here, I'm going to call Bishop Chibira, because I know Bishop Chibira very well. He would want his people saved. There's no bishop who would want, you know, because of processes that the people continue dying. That would be sending a very, very wrong message. But Right Honorable Prime Minister, Chair Committee seems wanted to say something on this issue of the quid to life.
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable. I just wanted to reiterate the context. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, Kilembe Mines Hospital, the structure is no more. So when we are putting things into context, it does not exist. It was swept away by the rain. Some of the boulders are as big as this table here, and there's a lot of silt. it cannot be brought back to usable status. Now, what is being improvised across the road is it was a former building turned into a health facility. So if government can maybe uplift it to the standard of a health center 4, because Ministry of Health has already promised that in Rukochi Health Center 4 is going to be the new site of a district hospital. And we already have another government hospital in Bwera. So for government to build a new hospital at that site, you will have 3 government hospitals in one district, which would not be favorable to other districts that do not even have a hospital. So there is Bwera. Probably if ministry has money, they'll build in Rukochi, and that that improvised area can be made a health center 4. And it is where we can send the credit line medicine. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's what the MPs are talking about and the leaders. They are saying whether it's in a container, whether it's in a one room, wherever services are being provided, give us medicine, people. Because, you know, medicine provided will not ask where it is coming from which room it was given to you, whether it was a beautiful room or what. If they have improvised, let us support that improvisation by giving medicine. And that's why the minister's action needs help. So, right on our Prime Minister, call a meeting tomorrow. We expedite it, and tomorrow afternoon, update us. You know, this, because to me, in 6 hours, a lot can happen. In 6 hours. So let us handle it as an emergency. That is updating us. I've not said you must bring a solution by then. Update us on what you would have done. I'm going to support you in this. I will call Bishop Chivira tonight after here. I'm going to call the bishop. I'm going to call the Attorney General. I support you. We all go into this. If necessary, it can even be in my office, and we coordinate a meeting tomorrow. We work together. We are here to complement each other. I had picked Kwania, then I had picked Yus North.
Yeah, thank you so much, Speaker. I want to join colleague in thanking the Committee of Health on their report. However, Mr. Speaker, I have a concern in this country. Most of these government entities doesn't use reports available to inform decisions they are making. In health, we have records in all the facilities in this country. I understand before cutting these supplies, the ministry has records of the supplies that were given to this facility. Now, my worry is this: when you are now taking up this action, what do you expect those who are using those supplies to be now? Because you would have gone on the ground before cutting of supplies, then give alternatives to the beneficiaries. But taking some of these emotional decisions will not take this country far. Because I believe the people in Kilembe Hospital were not given other alternatives. Government just took up decision of cutting of supplies, and they were just left hanging. Our concern is about those ones who are using the supplies. Where are they going now, Mr. Speaker? So in future.
Thank you. Youth Northern.
Thank you, Right Honorable. I rise to support the recommendation of the committee. Right Honorable Speaker, session in, session out, this formidable house receives multiple cases of destruction on account of natural disasters. Today, there's flooding. The next day, landslides. and the next day droughts. Right, Honorable Speaker, these natural disasters certainly have an enormous impact on our population and our economy. Right, Honorable Speaker, I'm also privy to information that we have a national disaster preparedness and management policy of 2010. And this policy recommends that government allocates 1.5% of our national budget to disaster management, including medical care in the short run and reconstruction and rehabilitation in the long run. Right, Honorable Speaker, the Kilembe Hospital crisis is certainly a call to action to this House, that we must implement to the dot our policies. But also we must put our feet down and ensure, since we're in the budgetary cycle, that there is significant budgetary allocation to disasters in our forthcoming budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Colleagues, all of us are agreeing. You see, what we are going through is a debate. No one is disagreeing with the findings of the committee. So what we are doing, we are going on record to have supported. And yet we have other issues to handle. So when I study the mood and I see no one disagreeing, then we move to another item so that we can. Yeah? That's how we should run the House. I'm sorry, Honorable Remricha. Next slide.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Let me also add my voice to those that have appreciated the committee for the report. But I commence with an appreciation to you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the undertaking and the commitment to intervene and have to fast track the restoration of the credit line for the emergency supplies and for the medicines. Mr. Speaker, I would request that you go an extra mile, because the facility in the new location has no functional ambulance. And moreover, the report is very unequivocal. It mentions among the equipments, although there is a discrepancy in the list, in the two lists that were handed over to the COW by the partners, the ambulance that is functional is there, but it has been seen labeled St. Mary's. I don't know whether it is by Kasese Catholic Diocese or whatever. But Mr. Speaker, now that you have offered to support, you would rather spare more of your efforts to ensure that this facility that has no functional ambulance gets the services or benefits from the services of this one which is available. But most importantly, in your report, when you say any investor that comes to take up Kilembe Mines as part of his corporate social responsibility should construct this Kilembe Mines Hospital in another location. And the good minister, whom I want to salute, also says that because of the tripartite, we would rather shift to the bilateral. Honestly, the government that is expending huge sums of taxpayers' money in the neighboring country. And by the way, Mr. Speaker, Kilembe Mines Hospital, I'm reliably informed, serves even communities that are living across in the neighboring country of Congo. And as he laughs, he knows that we are talking of a Ira Republic that stretches beyond Uganda. Now, if the government is talking of bilateral when they have not even secured any investor to enter such a memorandum, are they any serious, Mr. Speaker, sir? Let the government get serious and commit themselves to construct, because they have what it takes to build a fully-fledged hospital, Mr. Speaker, to replace this one which has been demolished by Nyamwamba. But Nyamwamba also in the new 21st century
there are mitigation measures that could have dammed, although my colleague mentions rainwater harvesting, including floods. There could be dams, massive planting of trees along it to help control or even nip in the bud the bursting of its banks and other mitigation measures, Mr. Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable colleague. The Minister has been intervening. These are issues now we've agreed on a way forward as far as addressing this matter is concerned. I now put a question that the report of the Committee on Health on a field visit to Kasese to assess the status of Kilembe Mines Hospital be adopted. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it. The Committee on Health keep looking at these issues, and we are going to be updating you, Right Honorable, from the multi-sectoral approach we are now taking, so that the Minister of Health does not suffer calling justice. No one is coming looking for this. No one is coming. We come under one roof and we get a solution. Okay, we stop working in silos. Yeah, honorable colleagues, like I had told you, we are in the HIV/AIDS Awareness Week, and honorable, you should also get us, you know, the tags, so that tomorrow all of us can be smart. Not only you and the Honorable Joel Leku. But because of that, my colleagues, I'm going to amend the order paper. I'll resume later to amend the order paper to go on business to follow. And I pick an item which is rated. That is item 7 on business. 4 o'clock, call it, and we sort it.
New item, report to the Committee on HIV/AIDS and related matters on the assessment of the high HIV prevalence rates and accessibility of HIV service delivery in police detention centers and prison facilities.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. We do just, Honorable Chair, you have 15 minutes enough. Just go on observations and recommendations. The report is uploaded, colleagues. It was uploaded some time back. We should be able to access it.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for according us space and amending the order paper to accommodate the committee report. Right Honorable Speaker, the Committee on Internal Affairs reported on the floor of this parliament the escalating prevalence rates of HIV in prisons that was above the national percentage. And it was upon that report that, Right Honorable Speaker, the committee took an initiative to go and visit these prisons, detention centers and prisons across the country to find out the facts about this. And Right Honorable Speaker, I'll go straight to the observations. Right Honorable Speaker, first of all, our objectives to the field visit was to establish the cause of the high HIV prevalence rates, reportedly higher among inmates compared to the national prevalence rates. We were also to evaluate the existing national health care response services framework of these correctional institutions in comparison to other jurisdictions and between the detention centers and communities. We were also to establish the levels of adherence to the national and international obligations by providing health care within prisons equivalent to that available to the outside population, and to ensure continuity of care and treatment. Right Honorable Speaker, these were our findings. The committee established that HIV prevalence rates in prisons were higher than the national average. For example, in Dianga prisons in Kiriandongo district, the prison facility recorded 18.7%. Gulu main prison, 18.6%. In Kitugumu prison, there was 10% prevalence rate. Right Honorable Speaker, the Uganda Prisons Serial Behavior Survey report of 2014 indicated that there were 47, that is 3.6% new infections out of 1,315 HIV-infected individuals among our prisoners. That out of the 47 prisoners who had the recent infections, 50%, that is about 23, had been incarcerated for more than 6 months. This means that 23 prisoners contracted HIV while in prison. The report attributes this to several factors, including, but not limited to, the risk behavior and lifestyles, injuries, violent incidents that contribute to the disease transmission. Right Honorable Speaker, we interacted with the leadership of the prisons, and this was the Assistant Commissioner General who visited the committee. And we were informed that despite of the fact that in some prisons, they invite the barbers to carry out the shaving of hair to the prisoners, in most of the rural prisons, prisoners are given blades, razor blades, to shave hair themselves. And then they end up sharing these razor blades. And that accounts to the percentage of those that contract HIV while in prison. Right Honorable Speaker, we also raised the issue of homosexuality while in prison as one of the reasons or one of the causes for the transmission of HIV while in prison. When we met the team, Right Honorable Speaker, they never denied the existence of homosexuality in prisons, neither did they agree to it. They said that since homosexuality is an issue that is rampant in the community nowadays, the people that are sent to prison come or originate from these communities. So the issues of homosexuality could be there, but since there are no cameras in the areas of residence, they would not be able to identify or to conclusively commit that homosexuality is one of the causes. Right Honorable Speaker, the other area of observation was whether these people at entry point, because every prisoner that comes to the prison is tested of HIV, malaria, tuberculosis, and hepatitis B. These are the 4 areas they carry out the test. And so when they enter, there is that testing that is carried out that helps to ascertain that this person is positive or negative. But since there is no routine or monthly test or quarterly test, they are unable to ascertain whether these people acquired the virus while they are in, or the virus was still in what? In the window period. So Right Honorable Speaker, those were the 3 areas. However, they confirmed that on exit, there are those that come in when they are negative, but when they leave the prisons, they go out when they are positive. Right Honorable Speaker, our recommendation in that area, Right Honorable Speaker, before I go to the recommendation, the committee also observed that there were higher rates of, the committee recommends that government should ensure that the prison detention centers prioritize personal hygiene of prisoners and detainees through provision of sufficient prerequisite equipments, such as shaving tools, to avoid sharing, which is a possible avenue for HIV transmission. Government should arrange for quarterly voluntary counseling and testing of prisoners to ascertain their serostatus. Right Honorable Speaker, we discovered that testing in prisons is mandatory. It's a requirement that as soon as you reach there, you are tested. And following our HIV and AIDS Act, it is supposed to be voluntary counseling and testing. Right Honorable Speaker, we are also recommending that government should ensure that prison authorities provide regular psychosocial support and counseling to prisoners to promote safe and positive lifestyles. In the area, to evaluate the existing national healthcare response services, Right Honorable Speaker, the Prisons Act 2006 mandates Uganda Prison Service to provide custodial and rehabilitative services, including health and welfare to offenders in Uganda. Currently, Uganda Prison Services has a prisoner population of 71,354 with an occupancy rate of 355% in the 260 prison facilities across the country. The staff position is 10,385, giving a prisoner staff ratio of 1:7, against the recommended of 1:4. The prison's health system is aligned to the national health system and classified according to prison's category in terms of levels of care. The Uganda prisoners community is composed of 3 major population groups, each impacted differently by health sector, including HIV. These include prisoners, staff relatives, and the community around the prison. Right Honorable Speaker, allow me use this opportunity to thank all the health facilities that are around the prisons that we have.
Conclude, Honorable Chair.
Right Honorable Speaker, we recommend in that area that whereas the above efforts are commendable, government should open up more prison and police health centers with a national coverage to replicate services offered at a national level. Right Honorable Speaker, we observed that the money that they put in transporting prisoners to go and get health services or HIV medical treatment in the nearby health center is more costly because, Right Honorable Speaker, when we went to Amur, these people have to travel to Gulu to go and collect these drugs. Specific objective number 3, Right Honorable Speaker, we discovered that the sufficiency of health services provided. We established, Right Honorable Speaker, that in some local governments were devoid of functional health units, which were necessary in provision of medical services to suspects, police officers. The committee, Right Honorable Speaker, also observed that incapacity of Uganda Police Force in some districts to provide the required healthcare services violated the policy objective of the Uganda National Minimum Health Care. And we are recommending, Right Honorable Speaker, that since the Uganda Police Force primarily offers healthcare services on behalf of Ministry of Health, government should take deliberate actions to establish and strengthen police health care centers. Right Honorable Speaker, there is also a lack of specialized nutritional needs to the HIV positive prisoners. Right Honorable Speaker, we observed that in most of these prisons, these prisoners are not provided with the nutritional needs that they need. And we are recommending that in addition to providing aid to HIV prisoners, government should allocate adequate budget line to Ugandan prisons services to improve on the nutritional needs of the prisoners. Screening of suspects, remands, and convicts for HIV, TB, and malaria. Right Honorable Speaker, I've already explained that this is a mandatory thing that is taking place. And so we are recommending that they revisit this so that it is voluntary, or we bring the law back to be amended so that the prisoners are catered for, since we want to secure their health. Right Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, on the issue of the police, we also discovered that despite of the fact that detention is supposed to last for only 48 hours, there are detainees that are kept at police stations for more than 48 hours. There are some we found who had stayed on detention for more than a month. And therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, what happens at police is that as people come every morning on parade, they announce how many of you are HIV positive, how many of you need treatment and drugs. And with the stigma and discrimination, most of the people at police detention areas do not come out to declare their serious status. Therefore, we are recommending as a committee that we need to improve on the way we identify the positive clients that we detain at police stations. And Right Honorable Speaker, I want to reiterate or re-echo the words of the Minister for Finance, who said that his going to prison was an eye-opener, to reconsider or a blessing for him to know how these prisoners are living. Right Honorable Speaker, we got an opportunity to visit and even enter the prison. Where we were allowed, we visited and we saw. The accommodation is appalling. Right Honorable Speaker, the congestion is too much. And the UTI is actually at 80%. The urinary tract infections are actually at 70 to 8% in prisons, because most of our prisons are lacking water. They are having a big challenge of water, and therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, even if these people are serving this sentence of the crime they have committed, they have a right to health.
Thank you,
I want
Chair.
to thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, once again for according us this opportunity.
Thank you, Chair. Colleagues, there are reports to do with internal affairs. I want us to have them so that we debate tomorrow. So they are very, very critical, so that we go, we sleep over them, and then tomorrow we have a very clear debate. So let's go to number 5. Rack.
Item 5 on the order paper. Motion for adoption of the report.
Tomorrow I'll ensure we give them enough time for debate.
Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Defense and Internal Affairs on disparities in district quarters for shortlisted applicants for the position of probationer, police constables, and drivers in the recruitment exercise by Uganda Police Force.
Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
20 minutes.
Right Honorable Speaker, allow me, Leon Tevo, the original report of the committee, and also the minutes of the committee meetings. Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members, this is a report of the Committee on Defense and Internal Affairs on disparities in district quarters for shortlisted applicants for the post of probationer, police constable, PPC, and the drivers in the recruitment exercise by Uganda Police Force. Right Honorable Speaker, back to this, on the 30th sitting of first meeting of second session of the 11th Parliament of Uganda, held on Thursday, 15 September 2022. Honorable Bedi Bwanika, MP Kimanya Kabonera Division, Masaka City, raised a concern over the disparities in the district quarters for shortlisted applicants for the post of probationer police constables, general duties, and drivers. The member alleged that there were disparities in the recruitment exercise basing on variances in the shortlist per district, and was concerned with the criteria used and demanded to know as to whether the applicants are residents of the said districts. He based his complaint on Article 21(2) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda that provides, without prejudice to clause 1 of Article, a person shall not be discriminated against on grounds of sex, race, color, ethnic origin, tribe, birth, creed, or religion, social or economic standing, political opinion, or disability. In response to the above, Right Honourable Speaker, you directed the Minister of Internal Affairs to table before the House a list of shortlisted applicants together with the copies of their national identity cards. Right Honourable Speaker, you referred the matter to the Committee on Defence and Internal Affairs for consideration and report back to Parliament. The committee considered the report, Right Honourable Speaker, in conformity with the Rule 218, the 45 rule, Right Honourable, we complied. Permit me, go the back again. On 4th June 22, adverts were made on print, radio, and TV media platforms where the Uganda Police Force invited the qualified applicants for the positions of probationer police constables, PPC, general duties, and drivers. The recruitment exercise was guided by the following legal framework: 1995 Constitution, Police Act, Public Service Standing Orders, and the Public Standing Orders. Methodology, Right Honourable, we interacted with the leadership of Parliament, leadership of police, Honourable Bedi Bwanika. We go peruse the advertisements, copies of applications, copies of applicants' academic documents, short list of applicants, copies of national IDs, recommendation letters, responses by police force. And the terms of reference were to analyze the criteria of the recruitment exercise to find out whether there were variances in the number of the shortlisted applicants per district. We also to ascertain the identity and originality of the applicants shortlisted in the districts. Findings. While interacting with the police leadership, the committee was informed that on 14th June 2022, advertisements were made to various media platforms. A total number of 1,488 applications for the position of PPC and drivers were received, out of which 850 applicants qualified to be shortlisted for interviews. Uganda Police Force also received 7,587 applicants for the position of PPC general duties, out of which 778 applicants qualified to be shortlisted for the interviews. However, the shortlisted applicants were below the number required as advertised. Basing on the advice of Uganda Police Force Advisory Committee, the position of PPC general duties was re-advertised with adjustments by lowering the requirements for one to have O-level UNEB exams from 2019. This was the cutoff point 2019. So they adjusted 2018 to attract more in that bracket and put the score in mathematics from a credit to at least a pass in mathematics. There was that consideration. As a result of lowering the requirements, a total number of 2,015 applications were received. The committee was further informed that a team composed of personnel from the Directorates of Research, Planning and Development, Human Resource Development, Human Resource Administration and Management, Crime Intelligence and Logistics and Engineering was constituted to review the applications and come up with a short list of applicants for the post of PPC, general duties, and PPC drivers to be invited for interviews. Recruitment criteria for PPCs. A total of 9,900 applications were received, out of which 1,846, including 1,261 males and 585 females, qualified to be shortlisted for interviews. Of the 15 applicants Uganda Police Force received from Buhweju district, none of them qualified. Some districts failed to meet their quota, namely Nabilatuk, Koboko, Yumbe, Kakumiro, Kibale, Chikube, Kiryandongo, Chegegwa, Kitagwenda, Rakai, Ruengo, Kalungu, Kazo, Bududa, Silonko, Kabong, Mitiana, Mpiji, Gomba, Nakaseke, and Buyende. Police force leadership explained that the allocation of these quotas was in line with the constitutional requirement of a nationalistic and patriotic police force, and shall ensure that members of the Uganda Police Force are recruited from every district of Uganda. It was further explained that the quotas allocated to districts are based on the population projections as provided by Uganda Bureau of Statistics, UBOS. The committee observed that the recruitment exercise had variances in the number of shortlisted candidates per district. For example, Masaka City had 14, Masaka District had 7, Gulu City had 32, Soroti City had 22, and Mitoma had 4. The committee queried the criteria used to allocate the said numbers. The committee further noted that in the circumstances where a district or a city did not meet the number allocated for the quota, the balance was given to the neighboring district, since districts are being cut often but stay within the geographical area. The committee was informed that the variance in recruitment is based on the population quota, of which the formula is provided by the Constitution and basing on Uganda Bureau of Statistics figures. The committee is satisfied that the variances in quotas given to different districts are justified. The committee noted that the recruitment exercise was centralized, with the applications being submitted at regional police offices and forwarded to police headquarters for processing. Right on Speaker, the committee recommends that whereas the police force conducted the recruitment exercise at regional level due to COVID-19 pandemic, in the future, recruitment, the exercise should be done at district headquarters, as has been the practice. This will promote transparency in the exercise. Recruitment criteria for PPC drivers. A total of 1,488 applications were received, of which 853 were found suitable for the next stage. These cut across all classes of driving permits. The recruitment exercise was in accordance with the second advert run by the Ministry of Internal Affairs. The committee noted that all interested persons had to file applications accompanied by the recommendation letter from local authorities as proof that the applicant is a resident of a particular district. Uganda Certificate of Education, UCE, with 4 credits including English and at least a pass in mathematics, obtained not earlier than 2018. A valid driving license for those applying for the position of PPC drivers, and a national identity card as the proof of nationality. The committee recommends that there should be a verification committee comprised of LC3 chairpersons, sub-county chief, and GISO before the applicant submits the application to the police force to minimize forgeries. The committee is satisfied that the advert for recruitment was made public on print media, radio, and televisions, and therefore applicants were aware of all the requirements for positions they applied for. Identity and originality of applicants. It was alleged that most of the people shortlisted per district were not residents of the said districts. A case in point was Masaka District and Masaka City. It was further alleged that the process of shortlisting the applicants for interviews was marred with irregularities and that some of the shortlisted applicants, in particular from Kimanya, Kabonero, Masaka sub-region, were not duly recommended by local council authorities, but only obtained recommendations from the resident district commissioner. The shortlist did not reflect the indigenous names within the locality. The committee was informed that it was a requirement that after the advert, all applications in a given area must be submitted by recommendations, must be supported by recommendations by the LC1 chairperson, resident district commissioner, and a valid national ID card, in addition to academic qualifications and a valid driving license for drivers. All applications were verified and shortlisted candidates were from the districts where they applied from. The committee scrutinized sample applications from the regions of Greater Masaka, Greater Bushenyi, and North Choga, and is satisfied that all the shortlisted applicants are residents of the districts where they applied from. Their names may not be of the indigenous communities within the locality, but basing on free movement of Ugandans in accordance to Article 29, Cap 2A of the Constitution of Uganda, and free movement of labor in Uganda. Different localities have different ethnicities that have settled in those areas. It is easy to associate names with a certain locality. Evidence of a residence is only based on particulars on the national identity card, supported by the recommendation from local authorities. The committee was satisfied that all shortlisted applicants met the required qualifications and the recruitment process should not be delayed. Right, Honourable Speaker, this one was overtaken by events because the trainees are passing out in July this year. So I think the recommendation is a bit. Conclusion. The recruitment exercise is the only way to increase the police structures countrywide. This should be conducted on merit to give a chance to majority unemployed Ugandans and for a quality force to serve the police purpose. The number of applicants was high, indicating the desire of the youth to serve their country. Right, Honourable Speaker, honourable members, I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honourable. This report indeed was delayed and it was overtaken by events. I think it should just go on record with a very clear recommendations. Next time we shall do better in terms of us as a leadership. Honourable Doug.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. I agree with your finding, but there was one thing that was mentioned in the report that bothered me. When Honourable Muma indicated that there are people who are shortlisted that do not belong to those districts, it gave the impression that if I have to be shortlisted, even if I'm a Ugandan, I must be shortlisted from my district. But you see, is it clear that it's based on quota system for those districts? Maybe I needed that clarification. Yeah, because other than that, then it would be causing an absurdity.
No, the minister told us they provided for district quotas. Yeah, so honorable colleagues, just let us have it for the record purposes. This is not something we shall go into debating and we go back. It has been overtaken by events. Next time we will do better. Colleagues, please, okay? Next time we'll do better in ensuring that we are sensitive to such a very quick issues that require urgent attention. The recommendations are for future reference. The people are coming out of training. You know, it's basically post-mortem. So I'll just put a question right away. Please, I don't want to open up this. The people are finishing training. Okay? These are issues we are going to follow up forthwith to ensure that they are sorted. So colleagues, I now put a question that the report of the Committee on Defense and Internal Affairs on disparities in district quarters for shortlisted applicants for the post of probationer police constables and the drivers in the recruitment exercise by Uganda Police be adopted. Those in favor say aye, and to the contrary nay. The ayes have it. The minister now, we shall discuss the action taken. Okay? So the minister within 1 month should bring us an action taken report so that now we can discuss that and we shall open up and we ensure that all our recommendations are sorted. Next item.
Item number 6 on the order paper. Motion for adoption of the report of the Committee on Defense and Internal Affairs on the oversight visit to the regional forensic analytical government laboratories in Eastern and Western Uganda.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, allow me the regional report of the committee on table, and also read the minutes of the committee regarding the same subject. Honourable members, this is a report of the Committee on Defense and Internal Affairs on the oversight visit to regional forensic analytical government laboratories in Eastern and Western Uganda.
20 minutes, Chair.
Right on Speaker, honourable members, the Committee on Defense and Internal Affairs undertook a field visit to Eastern and Western Uganda in the districts of Mbale and Mbarara to appraise the status of the regional forensic laboratories under the Directorate of Government Analytical Laboratory. The visit was conducted in accordance with Article 90 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda and Rule 189 of the Rules of Procedure of the Parliament, which empowers a committee to monitor and the performance of ministries, departments, and MDAs under its jurisdiction. The Directorate of Government Analytical Laboratory is under the Ministry of Internal Affairs. It provides a full range of general scientific, analytical, forensic, and advisory services that facilitate effective legal proceedings to dispense justice, safeguard public and environmental health and safety, as well as promotion of trade. The GAL provides services to a wide range of clientele, including government departments responsible for the administration of justice and other agencies of government, mainly the police, courts of law, Directorate of Public Prosecutions, private sector, and members of the public, especially the traders and local manufacturers. Historically, it was referred to as government chemist and has been in existence since 1927. It has had varied administrative challenges in status and placement within the government structures and bureaucracy. It became a directorate in 2009 under the Ministry of Internal Affairs. The GAL is a fully fledged directorate with 3 departments, namely criminalistics and laboratory services, phytochemical verification, and regional laboratories. Each department has got a diversity of laboratories, namely forensic, biology for DNA analysis, toxicology, arson/fire crimes, and tool marks, questions, documents, and cyber forensics, foods and drugs. The Committee on Defense and Internal Affairs undertook to assess the general state of the laboratories, including but not limited to their human resource, the challenges faced by staff and management of the laboratories, and any recommendations as to how a more efficient and effective institution can be achieved. Terms of reference to ascertain the most common cases as well as the conditions under which the forensic laboratories operate. their functionality and infrastructure. 2, to assess the cost-benefit analysis of equipping the existing laboratories with the necessary sophisticated equipment, reagents, chemicals, as a means of saving government money on transportation of samples abroad.
But Honorable Chair, you see, this is the business you generated as a committee.
Yes.
So you don't give yourselves terms of reference. That is, if it's assigned to you, you should state objectives. Okay?
Right, taken right, Honorable Speaker.
And I would also advise committees, if you are generating business which you want it to end up on the floor, that business you should get clearance of the leadership of the House. Otherwise, you generate business which can help you in processing your work, processing your reports, processing ministerial policy statement. Otherwise, if each committee is going to generate business and bring it on the floor, then I'll be overwhelmed with around 200 reports. Yeah, it can happen that way. So I will accept this, but next time I'm advising committee chairpersons, if you want it to end up here, kindly seek our guidance so that we can study it further and guide you, especially should be an assignment from the House here. Okay, thank you. Now you see you gave yourself the terms of reference, so respond to your terms.
Highly noted, Right Honourable Speaker, and taken. Right Honourable Speaker, the findings. The status of the GAL Forensic Laboratories. The GAL has acquired the land title for the headquarters at Wandegea, and the designs for the DNA data bank infrastructure building have been approved by KCCA. However, there are no releases on development budget for Q1 for financial year 2022-2023, and this has greatly affected the commencement of works on the building. The GAL has 4 regional forensic laboratories situated in Mbale for the Erigon and the entire eastern region, Mbarara for western region, Gulu for northern region, and Moroto for the northeastern and Karamoja sub-regions. All these have their land titles except in Mbarara, where efforts to get the land title is underway. The GAL developed an organizational plan for regional forensic laboratories as a systematic guide to operationalize the laboratories and offer more accessible forensic, analytical, and advisory services to stakeholders at regional level. Recruitment of forensic scientists to staff the regional forensic laboratory has been embarked on, with the 10 government analysts recruited at the end of the financial year. Clearance for recruitment for financial year 2020-2023 has been sought from Ministry of Public Service through the Ministry of Internal Affairs. However, it should be noted that the GAL approved staff structure are 124 positions, and as of July 2022, only 65 positions are filled, putting it at 52.4%, leaving 59 positions vacant. Daycare facilities have been set up in Mbale Regional Laboratory to cater for breastfeeding and expectant mothers who are part of the staff and clientele. The renovations and furnishing of best scientific equipment have been provided for the regional forensic laboratory. Parliament appropriated an additional 8 billion to the GAL for the financial year 2020-23 for the regional forensic laboratories to acquire modern scientific equipment to aid forensic analysis in the regions. An additional 6.4 billion is needed to fully equip and operationalize all the regional laboratories. The committee further noted that despite the completion of the regional forensic laboratory in Mbarara, the said laboratory has not been operationalized due to lack of funding, lack of professional staff to manage the laboratory, hence limiting service delivery in the region. Exhibits have to be transported to Kampala headquarters. The committee recommends quick deployment of the professional staffs to manage the Mbarara Regional Laboratory. National DNA Data Bank. The committee noted that most common cases the GAL receives are those that require DNA analysis for crimes related to toxicology, stroke poison, murder, homicides, and sexual assaults, rape, and defilement. The DNA bank will be essential in solving cases of missing persons, paternity, and civil cases of administration of estates, referred by the Administrator General and security agencies. building and establishment of a forensic DNA data bank base to support intelligence and crime investigations will lead to strengthening national security and criminal identification. The DNA bank will eliminate massive arrests of suspects before evidence is obtained, and this will reduce the cost of feeding the suspects in prisons. The next generation of national identity cards will have a future of DNA profiles at all Ugandan nationals, and it is imperative that the National DNA Data Bank is in place to aid the national identification exercise.
Honorable Chair, allow me to interrupt you as you've gone further. I'm seeing more problems with your report, because your report falls under 189D. The findings you got here should be fed into your municipal policy statement. And it was fed into, because I chaired here when you presented. So this report does not qualify to be here now as a standalone report. And also I'm concerned it is signed by just 7 members out of 30. Okay, but above all, I'm seeing the things you're reading here are issues which near recorded as problems there. You're speaking for the ministry. I will let the ministry speak for itself. So let us stop here. Let us stop on this. This report, it will not be part of our record, okay? But use it as a committee. Now, honorable colleagues and honorable chairpersons of committees, I also want to send a very strong warning. I received an email last night. It was copied to me, whereby a company, Veridos, which is involved in national IDs and all that, was inviting you, the committee, someone I think from the national data and something, to meet with Veridos, a vendor, and also proposing that they also meet you again in Germany. They are inviting you to Germany and giving you dates, which is related to the issues we just had. I want to put it here to all committee leadership and members. Don't meet with vendors to know whether they have capacity to do business or not. That's not our work. That is involving ourselves into problems. Let them get a contract they are supposed to get, whoever gets it, then we come to do oversight on how they have done their work. But before one is contracted, please let us avoid getting involved. And please, I don't want you to attend that meeting. Don't attend it, any of the officials who is soliciting for business and they are fighting over contracts. We had one here, you saw how the minority came. Now the other partner has written an email. They've written, they also want to meet the committee, I think, to set the record clear. They are involving us into procurement matters. This house cannot be involved in such matters. And this goes to all of us. Let us be very, very cautious. If one is given a government contract and we appropriated money for a purpose, we come to do oversight in terms of how work is going. In the committee, you can go and you visit the site, okay, and see, are you delivering as we appropriated money? But also on that, you must be read by the minister responsible. Don't go as a committee without a political head, because you will have a situation where you will come, you report, the minister says, but I don't know about your visit. Here we deal with political heads. We don't deal with technical people. It's the committees of accountability that focus on technical people. So let us always ensure that whenever you are meeting technical people, and I need the Minister of Internal Affairs to look into the conduct of that officer who was writing emails Okay, the conduct of the officer. Honorable, you remember him? I have the email here. You should have received. You must have received that email. It came in. It came in last night. I'm trying to see. Colleagues, it was annoying. It was annoying. I think I'll get it tomorrow. Maybe I read it for members for it to go record. They know what I'm talking about, because it's really the officer, not even a minister, not even an accounting officer, but an officer is inviting and even copying in the presiding officers that come meet. Then again they already take you to Germany. It's really worrying. These are the traps they set for us, and they want us to fall into. So don't meet any of the vendors involved in that project, which is already, leave the procurement to go on, let the executive do their work. For us, we shall come here to do oversight on whatever they would. You want to say something?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable, for being courteous. For the record, Right Honorable Speaker, Honourable members, I'm the deputy chair of the committee. I have never been to Germany, and I'm not about to go. I have not received any communication to the effect. Right Honorable, I just wanted to set the record clear, but I think as a presiding officer, you'll be able to get the truth. I thank you.
No, I will print that email tomorrow, so that I bring it here, and I demand action from the minister on the officer who is writing to our committee, directly inviting them for meetings with service providers, and even promising them trips. Okay, promising them trips that on this and this day you're ready to go to Germany on this, and then after, you know, we cause problems for our colleagues. Thank you, honorable colleagues. House adjourned to tomorrow at 2 p.m.